let's get into this, shall we? Greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome to my live stream for week 12 of the 2022 fantasy football season here on Thanksgiving Day. Again, happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Happy Turkey Day. Welcome on this very early edition of an Andrew Kirchhoff fantasy football live stream. Yes, I'm tired. It is early, but I'm ready to talk all things fantasy football related. So if you've got a question, be sure to type it in the chat. Be sure to mention your scoring format, and let's get into it, shall we? I mean, for the next, let's see here, 2.5 hours, we're going to be answering questions. Again, the main priority for majority of us should be figuring out what we're doing for people that are playing today. If there are questions in regards to players that are potentially playing on Friday, sorry, I almost said Friday, are potentially playing on Sunday or Monday, we can figure that out as we get to Sunday, because we'll have more information with the practice reports as of today and tomorrow to give us a little bit more of an indication as to whether or not those players are even going to be available for us and what we could potentially anticipate. But as of right now, as of Thursday, these are the rankings that I have. I have them up to date on screen. So if in fact you are wondering where exactly I would rank a specific player and who you should be potentially playing today, it is on screen as such. I've made some adjustments, even from yesterday's video. I've even made adjustments. There are different things that have kind of transpired, different pieces of information that have been made readily available to the public, which we certainly have to act upon. A couple of them that I wanted to mention first and foremost, just so we're all on the same page, okay? I do want to thank you guys for joining us this morning. If you guys haven't yet already, be sure to click the like button. Let's talk about a couple things before we get into answering some questions. First and foremost, let's talk about injuries. 2 players that are playing today, okay? So it's not a matter of players that are going to be missing for us that are fantasy prospects, but rather offensive linemen that are missing. Now, there are going to be a lot of them, and specifically, let's start for the first game of the day, okay? We have the Detroit Lions that are not going to have both offensive guards. We already know that there is, to be honest, their entire offensive line has been beat up all season long, but not having Evan Brown and Jonah Jackson is certainly going to make a difference. Now, does that mean I'm going to completely avoid starting Jamal Williams? I can't, right? Jamal Williams scores too many touchdowns. I cannot afford to have him on my bench again. I just can't, right? And then we also know that the New York Giants, their offensive line decimated. Four players from their offensive line are out. Their names, of course, John Feliciano, their center. We know that Evan Neal, their right tackle, is going to be missing, I think, the 3rd consecutive game here. We also know that Shane Lemieux, one of their offensive guards, is gone, and then the other offensive guard, Joshua, what is his name? I got to figure this out. Joshua something. Their other offensive guard is out. So they only have Andrew Thomas and Glowinski that are active. I've moved Saquon Barkley down a significant margin because I already didn't like this matchup to an extent, and now that we have so many of their offensive linemen out, this really could impact his overall production within today. So I'm being really cautious, especially considering the defense that they're taking on as a whole. Outside of that, even in the night game, Christian Darrisaw, the left tackle for the Vikings, is out. That's a playmaker right there. You know, even though he's just a left tackle, he makes a huge difference on their running game and, of course, the protection of one Kirk Cousins, which certainly opens up their offense that much more. Outside of that, a lot of injuries in terms of the Buffalo Bills. Their defensive line is pretty much, their defense as a whole in terms of their front seven. Tremaine Edmonds is going to be missing again. AJ Epineza is going to be missing this week. We know that Greg Rousseau is going to miss another consecutive week here. That's pretty good contributors to their defensive front seven. We know that the Cowboys are going to be missing Anthony Barr. Outside of that, there are a couple illnesses, according to the injury report, that are plaguing the team in terms of what we're going to end up seeing. There could be Dante Fowler that's missing, but Michael Parsons should be ready to, line up and get after anybody who's whatever backup offensive tackle is ready to go up against him. Either way, hopefully that covers it. We'll talk about that as we kind of progress throughout the rest of today's live stream. Just wanted to establish that first and foremost as things that certainly do play a factor. It is a given. When you don't have a starting offensive line in there, it is definitely going to hurt. And, at times, yes, you can get away with it, but against a specific defense like the Cowboys today, man, it is going to be tough to convince me that Saquon is just going to be perfectly fine, and it's going to seem like there is no, difference, especially coming off of a week where he was quite underwhelming, even against the Detroit Lions front seven. Okay. So let's go ahead. Let me address some of these questions that were sent in. Again, I'm going to try to get to everyone's question. We have a lot of time today. Okay. And when we're only kind of focusing on the main priorities of today and the players that are participating in today in comparison to some of your other options within the given week, we should be able to get to everyone. Okay. Sounds good. Here we go. Let's see here. We had Jason sent in a question. Said Dak or Murray this week. Yeah, it is 100% we want to play Dak today. And the other reason, mainly, besides the fact that I've moved kind of Murray off my list, is because there is a chance that they could hold out Murray. There's a chance. But the primary reason why I'm not too excited about playing the potential of a Kyler Murray in this weekend's matchup specifically is because the receiving help on his team are injured. We did not see Rondale Moore, Greg Dortch, Marquise Hollywood-Brown participate in Wednesday's practice. So with those three potentially out, you have D-Hop and then you have AJ Green. And in my mind, that doesn't set up a lot of success for a potential Los Angeles Chargers matchup. So I'd much rather just play Dak this week. As for your question, Kittle or Schultz, again, I think Kittle just has that much more potential upside every single given week. So I'm leaning in his direction. And then Metcalf or Montgomery in the flex half PPR. That's a really interesting question. Okay, so as of right now, if my preference would probably lean in the direction of playing David Montgomery. Now, that is under the assumption that we do get a Justin Fields play. If Justin Fields doesn't end up playing this week, I think the offense is certainly less dynamic and probably has a tougher time moving the ball down the field. Therefore, we'd probably just pivot to Metcalf at that point. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving, Jason. Appreciate it. Play-by-play says, start Debo, Ramondre, or Keenan Allen in a full PPR scoring format. It's hard for me not to suggest Ramondre Stevenson. I understand that his performance in terms of rushing last week was quite inefficient on the 15 carries that he was given. But in terms of the receiving PPR value that he has in comparison to majority of the other running backs in the current fantasy landscape, he's second to just maybe Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler as a receiving back here. He's putting up numbers over the course of the last month. Like I was mentioning, he's leading his organization, the New England Patriots, in terms of targets for the last 4 games here. It is difficult for me not to go ahead and fire him up, especially in an advantageous matchup going up against Minnesota. We just saw both Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard torch that defense as a collective duo. So, of course, Ramondre is going to be the play there in a full PPR. Thank you very much, play-by-play. Goofy Gibbon says, sit one in a full PPR scoring format, Jamal Williams or James Conner. Yeah, if I have to sit one, I have a very difficult time sitting Jamal Williams in any sort of capacity. Even with the fact that the Detroit Lions are missing offensive linemen, they are taking on the Buffalo Bills. The number one thing that the Buffalo Bills struggle at is stopping the run. And if you can go ahead and put together a great game plan in that regard and just hammer it down their throat the entirety of the game, it would not surprise me that Jamal Williams could find success in the matchup. Now, it also wouldn't surprise me if we end up seeing, a Nick Chubb performance. But when we're evaluating the potential upside and then risk of every single one of these plays, in specific, the comparison between a Jamal Williams and a James Conner, as much as I like James Conner, I think he has just as much, potential risk. He's got 3 offensive linemen that are missing. Could be a 4th, depending on how practice goes this week, going into this Los Angeles Chargers matchup. On top of the fact that, again, we don't know who the quarterback is going to be in that matchup and whether or not the offense is going to be able to at least have some semblance of success against the Chargers, even though it is a great matchup. Again, it's difficult to predict that kind of a potential with so many missing pieces within a singular offense. It could just give even more credence to the idea that the Los Angeles Chargers stack the box and just send it the entire game in order to stop that singular option outside of course, double covering D-Hop for the remainder of the game. But as of right now, yeah, I have to play Jamal Williams. It's too difficult not to. It's one of those plays where you have to play your stud and let it roll. Andrew Horton sends the questions. Thank you very much. Says, are you trusting JJ tonight? Or should I go with someone like Evans? Again, this is another one of those questions where because it is JJ, because it's Justin Jefferson, you have to play him purely based on the potential of production. Now, even though, yes, it is a relatively bad matchup, the worst at the wide receiver position, and Kirk Cousins looks like he's going to be in a very just distressful situation in terms of running away from, pass rushers for a majority of that game, I have to play him. Because if I end up not playing Justin Jefferson and he goes for I don't know, 24 on my bench, can I live with that decision? I think the significant difference between potential upside of a top tier JJ game in comparison to Evans is significant enough to where, yeah, even with the risk of Justin Jefferson and all that is collective within that, I still have to play him. It's too difficult not to. Yeah, if you had a better, if you didn't have like Justin Jefferson, or sorry, if it wasn't like a Justin Jefferson versus Evans conversation, if it was Justin Jefferson versus Tyreek Hill, we can make that pivot. It's not a problem, right? Because you're talking about top tier. But the difference at this point, it just makes it that much more difficult to pivot there. Game of Champs says full PPR, start 3. Aaron Jones, Latavius Murray, DeAndre Swift, Zeke, Najee Harris. If we're starting 3 out of these potential options, it's for me, it's Aaron Jones first and foremost. He has a great matchup against Philadelphia, has looked great this season. Then it's Najee Harris second, who is coming off of back-to-back weeks of 20 rushing attempts with no Jaylen Warren this week. Benny Snell Jr. will obviously get a little bit of utilization, but not enough to be a significant volume that takes away from the potential of a Najee Harris in the given week. And then your third option out of the group, in my mind, is Latavius Murray. There is no longer the looming threat of a Melvin Gordon and or Chase Edmonds that are going to take away value. The next man up in this backfield outside of Latavius Murray would then be Marlon Mack. Again, Marlon Mack has been on 3 different teams this year already. I'm not expecting him to impede in the potential upside of a Latavius Murray game here. And in comparison to Zeke and Swift, I know they have potential to score touchdowns, but in terms of efficiency, in terms of utilization, in terms of how much they are playing, both those guys are technically still dealing with injuries, one with a knee and the other one with an ankle and shoulder. So I'd rather just play Latavius Murray, knowing that he's going to get the volume on the ground through the air in a matchup in which he should be able to at least keep it close enough to where the running game is still an ample option, even in the fourth quarter, in which they'll continue to do just exactly that, run the ball and give him value. Zeke, Najee, Latavius, thank you. Very long-winded answer. I know I just gave a really long-winded answer for a simple answer I could have just made in 2.5 seconds, but hey, you guys know me. I like to talk a lot. Moving on, Stephen Drake sends in a question, says, happy Thanksgiving, bro. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you as well. Thank you guys for joining us this morning. Again, if those of you who are just joining us, rankings on screen are as of, up to date as of this morning. We talked about a couple injuries. We'll loop back around. We'll talk about some potential kicker and defense rankings in just a moment. For those of you, I am currently answering a couple questions that were sent in via donation. I do appreciate you guys sending those in. You definitely do not have to. It's not, you don't feel obligated to do so. I'm here to answer questions regardless. So either way, we're going to get to, the chat in just a moment, but do appreciate you guys joining us. If you have not yet already, click the like button down below. Definitely appreciate that. Thank you. All right. So Steven, Gabe Davis or Michael Pittman Jr. today? I'm playing Gabriel Davis. Yeah. That is the preferred approach at this moment. I think the matchup for Matt Ryan and Michael Pittman, that duo, they're definitely going to find success, especially in a half PPR. But I think the ever elusive touchdown is very difficult for me to potentially predict in the given situation with Michael Pittman. I feel a little bit more comfortable with Gabriel Davis, the potential for him to take the top off the opposing defense and still have just as much potential baseline floor of production based on the target volume and or utilization that he has seen as led. So I'm still going Gabriel Davis there, Steven. Thank you. Tyler T says start 3 in a full PPR scoring format. We have Christian McCaffrey, Saquon, Connor, and ETN. Okay, I knew this question was coming, guys. Goodness. I have Njoku and Greg Dulcich. Would you drop Greg to play Knox? Yeah, I would actually. So to answer your primary question, Tyler, yes, I would feel very comfortable dropping Greg Dulcich to go pick up Dawson Knox and play him over the rest of the tight ends that you currently have on roster. I do see Dawson Knox being a great play this week and going forward, as long as those targets continue to get funneled into his direction. As for your prior question, in a full PPR scoring format, what am I doing with those options? I think I'm legitimately sitting Saquon, which it may seem like it's a cardinal sin to do something like that, and he's one of those quote-unquote studs, but I think those other 3 options are just as good, if not better, at this point. I think McCaffrey and Etienne have to start here. Then the question begins to be a toss-up between the conversation of do I want to start Saquon Barkley? Do I want to start Connor? Probably just off of principle of starting your studs, you would play Saquon there, right? And you would just you would roll Christian McCaffrey, ETN, and Saquon. That's probably what I'm going to suggest to you. I think it'd be a little bit too risky at that point just to completely shut him down and not even play him in this given week. So that's my suggestion. Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate it. Let's hear. Fainsky says, I need one in the flex, Swift, Pickens, or Latavius Murray. yeah, I cannot play Swift, knowing full well that he's not going to play majority of the game. As for Pickens versus Latavius Murray, I think you're in a pretty safe spot going with Latavius Murray, considering he does have receiving upside. You got to remember, running backs for the Denver Broncos last week, Melvin Gordon and Latavius Murray combined for 9 targets, 9 receptions. If that volume of production is certainly going to be there for Latavius Murray, where he's going to get himself 4 to 5 catches, if not more, in the receiving game, it certainly gives him enough ample opportunity to be a startable option in this given week. So I would go Latavius there, but Pickens isn't too far behind. Again, we talked about it. Pickens in a half PPR, 5 out of the last 7 games has been over 11 fantasy points, has scored a touchdown in 3 out of the last 4. He is certainly a fantastic option. I just like the volume of opportunity that Latavius is going to see in comparison. Thank you. Let's see here. We had Michael sending the question. Says Olave or Rachaad White in a full PPR. I would just play. Okay, so here's the thing. Considering this is a question that doesn't need to be answered for today's games, guys, I want to probably look towards opting in the direction of saying, hey, if it's not a question that needs to be decided by today's games, we would want to have more information in regards to this, Michael, because I don't know if Leonard Fournette's going to play. My assumption is that the limited participation that he was given in Wednesday's practice could end up leading to a game in which he doesn't even participate against the Cleveland Browns. And if that's the case, I would much rather play Rachaad White. But if Leonard Fournette is going to be active and is going to be starting, then at that point you have to play Chris Olave. Thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on, we had Kyle Strobel says pick 2 in a full PPR scoring format. We have Keenan Allen, T. Higgins, Barkley, Aaron Jones. Out of the group of players in a full PPR scoring format, yeah, at that point, I would be willing enough to start Higgins and Aaron Jones. That would be my suggestion there, Kyle. Thank you. Didi sends in a question. Thank you very much. Says half PPR. Help with the lineup. We have 2 running back spots, 2 wide receivers, 2 flex, and 1 potential defense. We'll talk about defense and kicker rankings in just a moment. Thank you for your patience, guys. I appreciate that. Thank you. So of your available options, Didi, you have, what do we have here? I have Packers RB. I have Dallas RB, as in both of them. I mean, I guess if that means Jamal Williams, Lazard, Debo, Mike Evans, Devonta Smith, Mike Williams. I have the Buccaneers and Washington defense. Okay, so as for defenses this weekend, I would rather play the Washington Commanders defense over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then as for your 2 running backs, I mean, if you have Pollard, I'd play him. I'd play him with Jamal Williams. As for your 2 wide receivers, I'd play, Debo with Mike Evans there. As for your flex options, if you do have both Packers running backs, I'm playing Aaron Jones in one of those flex spots, and the other flex spot will probably belong to Devonta Smith there. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Moving on, Dale Derrick says, what are your defensive kicker rankings as of thus far this week? All right, here we go. Perfect timing, huh, Dale? Here we go. So let's talk about some kickers and defensive rankings, okay, shall we? So I'm going to go over, I have a lot of kickers and defense here. We have 14 of each. We're going to go over all 14 of each group, one at a time, with the current, Thursday games in mind, just to kind of give you guys an idea as to where to potentially go. Okay, here we go. So week 12, defensive rankings, okay? Top to bottom, our number 1 would be the Dallas Cowboys. Number 2, Kansas City Chiefs. Number 3, New England Patriots. Number 4, New York Jets. Number 5, Miami Dolphins. Number 6, Denver Broncos. Number 7, Carolina Panthers. Number 8, Buffalo Bills. Number 9, Philadelphia Eagles. Number 10, Baltimore Ravens. Number 11, we have the San Francisco 49ers. Number 12, Washington Commanders. Number 13, Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 14, Indianapolis Colts. Now, let's say, for example, you are in a scenario where you're like, Andrew, I have the New England Patriots. You have them as your number 3 defense. But Kansas City Chiefs are available to pick up and play this week. Would you make the swap? No, because I truly do prefer the Patriots for the remainder of the season. And if you would have to drop them to, in order to pick up another defense, it wouldn't be worth it. But the Kansas City Chiefs are my number 2 defense, which is a defense that has significantly risen over the course of this week, mainly because Bryce, what is the quarterback's name for the Rams? I should know this. Goodness gracious, Bryce Perkins. He's going to be the starting quarterback instead of Matthew Stafford. It's shambles. So that's an automatic play. The Miami Dolphins are my number 5 defense because, again, Davis Mills got benched. Kyle Allen will be the starting quarterback for the Houston Texans going into this week. That is significant. Obviously, we want to take advantage of that. So Those are two of probably the higher ones that may be potentially available for those of you who have a lower ranked defense available or, going this week. Let's talk about kickers, okay? Top 14. Here we go. Number 1, Tyler Bass for the Buffalo Bills. We have number 2, Brett Maher for the Dallas Cowboys. Number 3 is Jason Myers of the Seattle Seahawks. Number 4, we have Nick Folk of the New England Patriots. Number 5, we have Daniel Carlson of the Las Vegas Raiders. We have number 6, Harrison Butker of the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 7, we have Justin Tucker of the Baltimore Ravens. Number 8, we have Cameron Dicker of the Los Angeles Chargers. We have number 9, Robbie Gould of the San Francisco 49ers. We have number 10, Graham Gano of the New York Giants. Number 11, we have Matthew Wright of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 12 is Evan McPherson of the Cincinnati Bengals. We have number 13, Ryan Suckup. That one I'm a little bit wary on because I know there is going to be potential rain in that game against Cleveland in Cleveland. So we got to keep an eye on that. But number 13, Ryan Suckup of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And number 14 is Chase McLaughlin of the Indianapolis Colts. Okay, appreciate it. Thank you guys. Hopefully that helps you guys out in terms of kickers and defenses as to where I am going with them going into this week. Appreciate it. Where are we at? Okay, Mark sends in a question. Fiore says, I need a running back and a flex. Pick 2 PPR. Barkley, Montgomery, Singletary, Latavius, Rachaad White, Christian Watson. Thank you, and happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. You also have Treylon Burks in that scenario. At this point, if I'm picking a running back and 2 flex, I have to play Barkley, right? Because of the separation of value in which you have at running back, it's passively you have to just play your stud of Barkley and hope for the best. So Barkley will be number 1. As for your follow-up options there, I think I'm pretty comfortable rolling with. Yeah, so this is what I'll say. Considering we don't have to make either of those decisions, so you would then just pivot and play that. Okay, so here's my idea right now, Mark. I think what I want to do is just play Barkley and that's it. And I want to wait until we get to this weekend and figure out what to do with Rachaad White. Because I think as of this moment, it would be Barkley and Watson. And then there could be a pivot to where we move, Montgomery and Watson. And we would pivot Montgomery out of there if Justin Fields is not going. And then theoretically play Latavius Murray and Watson. And then if we see Leonard Fournette is not active by Sunday, then it would be Rachaad White and Watson. So for now, I think Barkley's the only mainstay. Everything else is kind of up in the air until we get to Sunday. So that's the thought process. Appreciate it, Mark. All right, D. Porter sends in a question. Says, happy Thanksgiving, Andrew. Enjoy the games today. I appreciate that. Thank you. Appreciate that a lot. Paul Getz says, Superflex, 2 quarterbacks. Do I start Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, Kyler Murray? If I'm picking 2 of these quarterbacks going into the week, and then, okay, so here's the thing. Considering I don't even know if Kyler's going to play this week, I think it would probably be it would make sense to just play Jimmy Garoppolo and Kirk Cousins there because we don't know if Kyler's playing. Now, we did hear that he got a full participation. At that point, if we have a 100% designation that Kyler's playing, I would rather play him over Kirk Cousins. So Jimmy G for sure, Kyler be number 2, and then Kirk Cousins number 3 on that. I'm not too excited about his potential for today's game. As for the follow-up to your second league and another 2 QB league, Jared Goff or Russell Wilson, I'd rather. Oh man, ooh, that is rough actually. Do I rather play Jared Goff than Russell Wilson? As of my rankings right now, it doesn't look good. I don't have Russell Wilson very high on this list. I'll tell you that much. I have Jared Goff higher than him. Yeah, I'd rather just play Jared Goff there. If those touchdowns from last week, those 4 rushing touchdowns that team had, turned into 4 passing touchdowns, I'd have a little bit more of a positive tone in regards to this play. But for right now, I'd just rather play Jared Goff because I know the offense is far more likely to score in this given week, whether it's garbage time or not. Randon Martinez says, I can only play 2 out of the potential options here. Okay, so we have Keenan Allen, Chris Godwin, and Michael Pittman Jr. Okay, of those 3, I would rather play Keenan Allen and Chris Godwin. And then I have Amon-Ra St. Brown for sure starting. Yeah, okay. So at that point, yeah, we're going to play Keenan Allen and Chris Godwin there. Thank you very much, Brandon. I appreciate that. Drew F. says, half PPR, I need 2 running backs in a flex. We have Swift, we have Michael Carter, we have Brian Robinson, we have Dylan, we have Gus, we have Deontay Johnson, Curtis Samuel. Thanks and happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. If in fact we have to select 2 running backs in a flex within these options, Michael Carter is a for sure play for me. The next best option at that point is then playing DeAndre Swift today and keeping your fingers crossed. And then also at that point, playing Brian Robinson at the end of the week. So it would be the 3 RB rotation of Swift, Carter, Brian Robinson. If in fact Gus Edwards is starting, we could have a little bit of a shift of Brian Robinson out of there. But as of right now, I'd keep it as Swift, Michael Carter, and Brian Robinson. Thank you. Brett Wood says full PPR. Darius Slayton or Zeke today. Happy Thanksgiving. Oh, goodness gracious. Zeke or Slayton today in a full PPR. What worries me about Darius Slayton, guys, is the fact that Trayvon Diggs was able to make Justin Jefferson disappear. What do you think he'll do with a guy like Darius Slayton? That's my biggest concern. It is a legitimate fear that if in fact we get into a situation where he's completely shut out, he could go for 4 catches, 40 yards, and just be, not really a viable option this week. So, I mean, even with that said, let me look at my full PPR rankings. Where do I even have Slayton in comparison to Zeke? So I have Slayton at 74, and I have Zeke at 72. In a full PPR, I'm going with Zeke. Thank you. Let's hope Zeke falls into the end zone as per usual. Abil sends in a question. Says, pick 2 in a... what's the scoring format? Doesn't say. Okay. So if we're just picking 2 out of these options, Jeff Wilson Jr. is the primary number 1. Again, for those of you who are joining me this morning, the rankings on screen are up to date as of this morning. So we've made a couple adjustments. We'll talk about a couple of the explanations, again, for those of you who are just joining us, in regards to why I've made some adjustments in comparison to Tuesdays and Wednesdays videos. So for right now, of the available players that you have, yes, I would rather play Jeff Wilson and Jamal Williams out of the bunch. Thank you. Appreciate it, Abil. George sends in a question, says half PPR, 1 running back, 1 flex. We have Saquon, Etienne, Mixon, and Chase. I don't know if we have the luxury of waiting for Chase. I think it may just be one of those weeks where you just have to play Saquon and Etienne and not be able to wait, theoretically. I mean, you could technically wait, play Etienne today, George, in terms of your RB spot, not play Saquon, and then you wait until the weekend, and if Jamar Chase is active, you fire him up. Is it risky? Yes, because I would much rather play Saquon ahead of Mixon this week, because I don't even know if Mixon's going to surpass concussion protocol and get past that. So there is a lot of... So you could even get into a situation here, George, where you get to Sunday morning and Mixon and Chase are both out. And at that point, you will have sat Saquon on Thursday, and whatever he does today would not be, able to help you out. So I think it's just safer to play, Saquon and Etienne this week. Thank you. Pursue sends in a question, says start 3, DPJ, Pacheco, Cooks, Samuel Foreman, 2 flex, and 1 wide receiver. The number 1 wide receiver I have to play out of the group is Donovan Peoples-Jones. Too much consistency there. As for the other 2 options, I'm playing Pacheco and Foreman. I appreciate that. Thank you, Pursue. KZR Golf says pick 2, Etienne, Chase, Marquise Brown, Amari, Godwin, and Rashad White. Okay, if we're picking just 2 options out of the bunch, again, none of these players are playing today, which is a benefit to you, Golf, but at this point, it's Etienne and Chase, if they're active, of course. Marquise Hollywood-Brown does not seem like he's going to play. And if, in fact, we get to Sunday, and by the time we get there, we have a conversation that Chase is not active, then you would then pivot to Amari Cooper instead of Jamar Chase. But otherwise, Etienne's obviously a start. Thank you. Jaron Carter says, half PPR, Zeke or Foreman this week. I would much rather play Foreman. I know that the volume of opportunity will certainly be there going up against the Denver Broncos. As for Zeke, yes, he's going to have the volume of opportunity. He's just going to be far less efficient in those touches. He's certainly going to need touchdown upside to help him. It is a matchup in which, again, I do expect this to be a one-sided affair. I truly do. I think that the Dallas Cowboys are going to kill this team, the Giants. I think I could be wrong, and I am wrong in a lot of scenarios, but I think that the Giants are they're a paper, 6+ win team. How many wins do they have? 7? Let's see here. NFL standings. The Giants here, as of right now, where's the NFC? The Giants have, they have a paper 7-win team. I mean, there's probably some Giants fans in here. Don't get me wrong. Listen, they could probably beat some other teams. But at this moment, it is really difficult to convince. It would be difficult to convince me that they could beat the Cowboys with 3 of their starting offensive linemen out. That would be, that'd be difficult to accomplish. But if they do it, hey, it is what it is. We'll see. That's why we play, right? Any given Sunday. We wouldn't, if we knew the outcome, we wouldn't line up and play the game. And that's why we line up and do play the game to figure out what the outcome would actually be. You know what I mean? Appreciate it. But yeah, at this point, I'm playing Foreman. Trey Curb 47 says Jamal Williams or Stevenson. They're close in your rankings. Yeah, I mean, at this point, the primary difference maker is the receiving work that Ramondre Stevenson is certainly going to get in comparison. They're both going to have the red zone opportunities within their own offense. They're both in relatively advantageous matchups. I'd just rather play the player that has that extra potential for upside in the receiving game, which is Ramondre at this point, because they both have running backs that are, of course, taking value away from them. Damian Harris, DeAndre Swift, Justin Jackson, that'll be rotating there. But as of right now, I do prefer Ramondre. Appreciate it. Mr. Tres Cero Cinco says, Kirk or Jimmy G? Yeah, it's 100% Jimmy G. Like I mentioned in yesterday's video, Jimmy G has had himself 6 consecutive games of 15 or more fantasy points. He's looked fantastic this year, and remainder of the season, probably a top 12 option, to be honest, based on the offense and the great decision making that Jimmy G is making. In seasons past, he would have thrown a lot more interceptions and would have settled for a lot, different, I would say check downs in his position. But the way that this offense has looked, the running game, and of course the check down specifically to Christian McCaffrey, it's opened up a different aspect of Jimmy Garoppolo for us. As for your follow-up question, Dulcich, Conklin, Fant, or Hooper, if I have to play one, I'd like to play Austin Hooper there, because I know that Conklin could have more value with the implementation of Mike White as the now new named starting quarterback of the New York Jets, but it's not 100% of a guarantee that we're going to see that. So as of right now, I just play Hooper in that regard. As for your follow-up question, that we have Terrace Marshall, Julio Jones, Elijah Moore, or Greg Dortch. Greg Dortch had an MRI on his thumb. I'm assuming it's broken, and I'm assuming it's going to probably hold him out within the given week. So if we're going to probably have to start one of these other options, let me actually see. In a half PPR, who do I have as the highest? I think I'm probably thinking that I have Terrace Marshall as the highest. Let's go to my wide receiver rankings. So we have Terrace Marshall at 50. Who is this other options? Julio I have at 60. And then we had Elijah Moore, right? Elijah Moore currently sits at number 40. Wow, it's interestingly enough that they're all 10 spots separated. So it's Elijah Moore, Terrace Marshall, Julio Jones in that order. So Elijah Moore will get the start for me with the new quarterback play. And of course, more, I would say more pass-happy attack from the Jets offense. Appreciate it. Okay, I'm about to get to the chat in a moment. Okay, I see you, Jaden. I know he's saying stop donating so you can read the chat. I'm going to get to the chat in just a moment. I just got to catch up on these things, and then we'll definitely hop into the chat and answer all the questions that we have. Again, there's still 2 hours left in the stream, and I will be answering questions at a nonstop rate. Appreciate it. Let's see here. We had a couple questions here. Okay, so we had Kyle Singer. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Says Montgomery or Godwin in a full PPR scoring format. Trade Aaron Jones for Kittle, ? I probably wouldn't make that trade unless you're super comfortable at running back. I think that giving up Aaron Jones for Kittle is a little bit of like you're paying maybe a little bit extra. I know that the performance that Kittle's coming off of certainly does make it seem like it's even. Normally, I would say that Aaron Jones is the significantly higher value prospect between the two, but you'd have to be stacked at running back to be able to make a trade like that. So more context on the matter would be greatly appreciated. As for what to do at the full PPR position of Montgomery versus Godwin, I'd go Godwin there. Thank you. Chris All In says, I need one running back and one flex out of these potential full PPR options with Gabe Davis, Curtis Samuel, Leonard Fournette, Cordero Patterson, or Joe Mixon. Okay, Gabriel Davis is immediately going to play in my flex this week, and then we're going to determine as we get to Sunday whether we're playing Fournette, Patterson, or Mixon. So until we get there and we know the health of Mixon and Fournette, then we'll be able to decide by Sunday morning's live stream. But for as of right now, I'm assuming if in fact Mixon is available, he would be your RB, and of course Gabriel Davis will be your flex. As for your follow-up, Knox or Moreau at tight end, I'm going to play Dawson Knox. Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate that. AMC Machine says, expectations of Mike White for the rest of the season. I'm expecting him to be replaced, and Joe Flacco will be the starting quarterback next week. That is the legitimate expectations that I have for Mike White. I don't think he is great. I know he is going to bring a different surge to this offense, and it's going to allow other players to potentially play better in some circumstances. But I think that Joe Flacco purely deserves to be the starter of this team. He's the best quarterback on roster. He's currently going to be the second string this week, and eventually when Mike White makes a couple mistakes, Mr. Flacco will be in the driver's seat for the remainder of the season. Cammy L sends in a question, says sit 1.5 PPR scoring format. We have Ja'Marr Chase, we have Gabriel Davis, we have Christian Kirk, and we have Amari Cooper. Okay, so luckily, we're in a position here, Cammy, where we can decide based on the injury report when we get to Friday, Saturday, and what we're potentially hearing from the organization, specifically the Cincinnati Bengals. Because we know we want to play Ja'Marr Chase along with Amari Cooper and Christian Kirk, because those are our 3 most consistent options of the group. But considering we're in a situation where we can't 100% guarantee that Ja'Marr Chase will be playing, and they may hold him out for another week. It's possible. I think it is probably in your best interest to play Gabriel Davis this morning, and then in your mind, assume that we're going to see Ja'Marr Chase miss, have Christian Kirk and Cooper as that 1-2 option if we get to Sunday, and if in fact there is enough credence and a 100% guarantee that Ja'Marr Chase is playing, then we would swap him in for one of those other 2 options. So for right now, Gabriel Davis, yes, does in fact play today. Thank you, appreciate it. Cinco2X says drop one Pickens, drop one for Pickens in a full PPR. We have London, we have Damian Harris, we have Rondale Moore. Where is Kyler Murray ranked at? I think at this moment, I moved him down a pretty significant margin. Kyler Murray currently sits at, I think I sent him to the shadow realm. That's how far I moved him down. Where did Kyler go? Kyler's at number 20. That's where I moved him down to. As for who we're dropping out of those 3 options, Cinco, I would drop Damian Harris for Pickens. I'd like to still keep Rondale Moore, and I'd like to still keep Drake London there. Damian Harris is pretty much handcuffed with the potential upside of a goal line carry, but as of right now, if I'm getting rid of one for Pickens, which I absolutely would do this, it would be Damian Harris. Thank you. Let's see here. Ritter St. Luke says, sit Cook versus New England or play Murray or Edwards. Okay, so you're basically asking, would I sit Dalvin Cook versus New England to play Latavius Murray in a half PPR or Gus Edwards? I don't expect Gus Edwards to be at a full capacity, so I don't even want to, potentially think about that as a potential play there. As for Latavius Murray versus Dalvin Cook, I'm just going to opt towards just playing Dalvin Cook and hoping that even in a tougher matchup, he can have some semblance of receiving upside along with, short yardage position, maybe a goal line opportunity here or there. And of course, a couple breakout runs where we've certainly seen him all season long break out and make big plays. So again, even last week in the game that they lost 40-3, he was the only really effective offensive player, and I think that'll kind of probably maintain as such going forward. He's still going to be hyper efficient in his opportunities that he's given. So yeah, I'm going to play Cook there. Thank you, Ritter. Marco says, I need higher ceiling. I have 1 quarterback, 3 wide receivers, 1 wide receiver, and 1 tight end. We have Tua versus Fields. Again, I'd rather play Tua because I don't know if Fields is going to play. I have him currently on screen ranked with a questionable tag next to him for a reason, because I have no clue whether he's playing on Sunday. As for your follow-up, Cook, ETN, Walker, Swift, Pacheco, it is 1,000% playing Walker, ETN, and then as your third running back, just rolling with Cook, good to go. I'd rather play the potential of Cook than what Swift and Pacheco could provide for me. As for your wide receivers, you can only start one of the potential options. You have Sutton, Watson, and Slayton. I'm playing Watson there. I'm rolling with the hot hand and going all in on that idea. And whether it's Freiermuth or Schultz, in a full PPR scoring format, I would feel very comfortable playing Freiermuth, and it wouldn't bother me. I just know that Schultz has higher touchdown upside, so that's probably the direction that I go with. Michael Barton sends in a question. Thank you very much. Says, standard in a so it's a 12-team full PPR league. We are talking about 1 flex option. We have these potential options. We have Demarcus Robinson, Rachaad White, Paris Campbell. Again, these are one of these questions that can be once again answered on Sunday, guys. If you have a question that pertains to today, that's probably the better course of actions, because we'll know whether or not Leonard Fournette is active. I can't 100% guarantee you that Rachaad White should be your starter on Sunday. We don't know, right? Considering he's not playing today, I don't even want to make a statement on the matter. Because if it's right now and with the information that I currently have, I would just probably play Paris Campbell there, right? As for your question number 2, choose Logan Thomas or Hayden Hurst at tight end this week. I would play Hayden Hurst. Again, that is obviously going to be determined mainly because of whether or not Ja'Marr Chase is even active and or Joe Mixon. So we'll have to wait for Sunday for that as well. As for your number 3, should I bench CeeDee Lamb and play Campbell due to the matchup that they have? No. CeeDee Lamb is an automatic player. Dory Jackson is not participating today. He is out. That is their number 1 cornerback and has played very well for them, in fact. So CeeDee Lamb is a fantastic play this week. Thank you. We had a couple more questions. I'm going to catch up really quickly, guys. Okay. Abil sends in a question, says pick two, Keenan Allen, Jamar Chase, Juju, Pickens, Garrett Wilson. Again, at this point, considering I don't know if Chase is playing and all these players are for Sunday, guys, again, enough with these Sunday only questions. We got to have players that are involved in today's games. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to confidently give you a 1-2 there. But at this point, if I have to pick, it's Keenan Allen and Chase, assuming they're healthy. Otherwise, you pivot Chase into a Juju. Thank you. Justin says, I'm really considering about playing Jeff Wilson over Barkley. I would. If it's my team, I would legitimately play Jeff Wilson over Barkley today. It seems like you agree with me. Yes, I do agree with you, Justin. Appreciate it. Westside Carl says, PPR pick 3, Dalvin, Connor, Pierce, Jamal. Yeah, at this point, I'm sitting Pierce. I would rather play Dalvin, Connor, and Jamal. Thank you very much. Building Royalty says, should I trade Debo, Pierce, Juju for Waddle, Olave, and Sanders? Debo, Pierce, and Juju for Waddle, Olave, and Sanders. In terms of rest of season value, yeah, I don't mind that. I'd actually take that. I'm fine with that. Mainly because I do prefer the wide receiver options significantly more on the side of Waddle and Olave. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's see here. Green sends in a question. Says RB pick 2, Jones, Stevenson, ETN. Yeah, I'd play Stevenson and Jones there. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, so we had a question come in from Lewis G. Let me see if I can find it in the chat real quick. Lewis, where art thou? Lewis G. Lewis, if you could do me a favor and type in the chat what your question was, that'd be greatly appreciated because I don't see it. As for Troy, let me see if Troy sent in something. Troy sends in a question, says, Andrew, half PPR, pick 2, Gabriel Davis, Treylon Burks, Cordero Patterson, Singletary, or Campbell. If I'm picking 2.5 PPR, my suggestion will be to play both of those, what's it called? Buffalo Bills. I play Singletary and I play Gabriel Davis this week. Thank you. Appreciate it, Troy. Alrighty. So again, I see a lot of questions in the chat that are in regards to Sunday. Again, guys, if it has to do with Sunday, just understand that we don't have all the full information. We don't know about the practice schedule for today and or Friday and or potential walkthroughs on Saturday. There's a lot of potential that could change in terms of the rankings as we approach till then. So yeah, at this point, if we can limit it to the potential of what we're talking about in games potentially today in comparison to some of those other options, that would be appreciated. Let me start to catch up a little bit more here. We had, after Green, we had Dirk send in a question. Dirk said, half PPR, I only have one active RB week 14, which is Kamara. Do I drop Kadarius Toney to pick up McKinnon, Pirine, Gainwell, James Cook, Hines, or Warren? Yeah, I would. I would be very much so willing to swap out Kadarius Toney right now for probably looking at the bunch, James Cook. It's James Cook or it's Jerick McKinnon. If you're playing in a half PPR, I'd probably just pick up James Cook for them. Yeah, I know that the Buffalo Bills play against the Jets in that week. So, yeah, I'll take James Cook there. Mike Coke says, does Jameson Williams have any value? Yes, the expectation is that he plays next week. So, yes, he does have value. Pick him up and stash him on an IR spot if you have an available one. Sam Thomas, 21, says half PPR, Gallup, Slayton, or Akers this week. I'd rather play Slayton over the bunch. Thank you. Green says, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ali, UFC 4 knockout. Okay, here we go. Let's see here. Says, I have 2 flex, 3 wide receivers. We have Tony Pollard, Rashad White. We have Hopkins. We have Higgins. We have Ayuk. We have Godwin. We have Damian Harris. We have the bench of Pacheco, Patterson, Drake, Gus, Boyd. Should I trade Higgins and Ayuk for Tyreek Hill or hold? Wow. If you trade Higgins and Ayuk for Tyreek Hill, you would theoretically be starting Hopkins, Tyreek Hill, and Godwin as your 1-2-3 combo, and then you would have Pollard. Yeah, I would do it. I don't mind it. I think Ayuk certainly does present a lot of value, but I think the potential upside of what a Tyreek Hill could do on a weekly basis could, quite frankly, could legitimately just double their scores. Like combined, what an Ayuk and a Higgins can do in a given week, and I honestly think that a Tyreek Hill could do it. Now, again, you are definitely decimating your depth at wide receiver. So if an injury is to occur, you're definitely going to be in trouble. But when we're looking at potential upside in fantasy schedule, I don't mind it at this point. You got to remember, though, Tyreek Hill plays against Buffalo and New England in 15 and 16. But again, like I've talked about, he's the exception to the rule. I would play him regardless. Appreciate it. Diego says 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. We have Diggs, St. Brown, Olave, Barkley, ETN, and K9. ETN and K9 are my RB1 and 2. Diggs and St. Brown are my wide receiver 1 and 2. And if I'm playing a legitimate flex this weekend, I have to play Barkley. I wouldn't be able to play Olave over him and live with myself if Barkley was to go off. Gentleman Hangout says, start 2, Christian Watson, Myers, Palmer, Garrett Wilson out of a full PPR scoring format. In a full PPR, I'm probably more inclined to play Jacoby Myers and Christian Watson out of the group. Thank you. Luis Castillo says, standard league, Singletary, Swift, or Slayton. Yeah, I'd play Singletary there. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. I think I caught up. Did we do it? I think I did it. The only thing I was missing that I hadn't answered yet is Lewis G. Did he comment in the comment section? Lewis, you there? No Lewis? Okay. Appreciate it though. All right, let's get into this chat. Let's see what you guys have in terms of questions, shall we? Dylan Johnson says, Patriots defense or Cowboys defense today? Again, the primary reason, guys, that I have the Cowboys defense as my number 1 this week, and the primary reason why I've moved Saquon down pretty significantly on my rankings is because we have confirmation that the current offensive line for the New York Giants is going to be missing 4 of their starters. So at this point, with that being the case, we're in a little bit of trouble, right? So that offensive line is definitely decimated, and I understand that there is a potential to still play New England's defense, considering how hot they have been as of late. That punt return for a touchdown certainly helped many of us last week, but I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to get after the Giants and cause a lot of pressure in that backfield, specifically getting a bunch of sacks, potentially causing some turnovers. We saw a couple of interceptions from Daniel Jones last week, could end up piling up on that as well. So I'm gonna go with that Cowboys defense. Little Boy Blue in the chat was saying Swift or Jamal with the potential of negative game script. As much as okay, let's say, for example, it is a negative game script, okay, and I'll give you that. Let's say it is. Even if Swift is to accompany his performance with like 5 catches for 35 yards, okay, in a half PPR, it is difficult to still rank him high. And if, in fact, they're in a negative game script and they get down into the red zone in garbage time, they're not going to hand the ball off to Swift as quickly as they would be looking in the direction to hand it off to Jamal Williams. And that is always my biggest concern. If the touchdown upside is there for Jamal Williams, and he has scored, 6 touchdowns in the last 4 games with Swift active, while Swift is only accompanied for 2 of those touchdowns, it is tough for me to see an offense in which Jamal doesn't fall into the end zone today, whether it's in the first quarter or whether it's in the fourth. So I'd still in a negative game script have a hard time pivoting there. Let's see here. Let me see what's going on in the chat. Okay, happy Thanksgiving to you as well, James. I appreciate that. Thank you. Travis Nunn says Pollard or Kamara. I'd rather play Pollard today. What do you think about ETN going forward with the Jaguars claiming Henderson? I think Henderson probably fills into that Jermichael Hasty role, which means that he's going to get himself a couple carries a game, but it will not impede on the overall upside of ETN, because I think the primary reason of picking him up is just to have more depth to the position. Like the way that the National Football League works is you're only as good as your worst player. And if your worst player is that second string running back and you can absolutely make an upgrade by bringing in Darrell Henderson and having a good number 2 just in case your number 1 goes down, I think it's always smart, right? So they're looking at just for the potential depth of their team and having the best overall roster. I don't think this is a potential play to where he is digging into ETN's work going forward. Charlie P47 says non-PPR, Ayuk or Montgomery this week. Considering, again, this is a Sunday question, it is purely going to be determined on the availability of a Justin Fields. If Justin Fields is going, I'd be very comfortable rolling with Montgomery. If he's not, I think I'd probably pivot to Ayuk, because I think the Trevor Siemian versus the Jets defense kind of a matchup really makes it difficult for that entire offense to just move the ball in general. That's my only concern there. You know what I mean? We had a couple more questions that were sent in here. B Fees says, sit 1, Barkley, Jamal, Sanders, Jacoby Myers. If I'm sitting one out of this bunch in a full PPR scoring format, I'm probably sitting Sanders. Yeah, I'm sitting Sanders there. AV says, standard league, Jamal or ETN. I'd rather play Jamal at this point. Flex Hawkinson or Sutton this week. In a standard scoring format, I would probably just rather, I'd probably just rather flex Sutton there. Thank you. Jesus Rivera says, 1 quarterback, pick 1. Okay, so it's a 1 QB league. Or sorry, question 1. It's not even about quarterback. Okay, so question 1, pick 1 in a half PPR. We have Knox, Burks, Pickens, Foreman. If I'm picking 1 in a half PPR, give me between Pickens and Foreman. I'd probably just roll with Pickens there. As for your follow-up question 2, half PPR, Nico Collins, Demarcus Robinson, and or Alec Pierce or Gus the Bus Edwards. I would rather play Demarcus Robinson out of that group. Thank you. Lee sends in a question, says, traded Pollard and Carter for Barkley. Bad trade, question mark? For the longevity this season, I'd probably say it's not. As for this week, a little bit because of the injury to the offensive line. But again, we're not just playing for this week unless, again, you need to win to get in kind of a scenario, which at that point it'd be a little bit rough. But at this point, I think you're okay with it. Pollard, in my mind, is probably going to continue to maintain as a top 12 option remainder of the season. And I don't think Carter's in a worse position than he was prior to the quarterback change. I think he actually improves. So for right now, I'm just going to cross our fingers and hope that rest of season strength of schedule for him really pans out for Barkley. Jake Thompson says, Gabriel Davis or Dalvin Cook in a full PPR? Really good question, actually. Let's see here. What do I have in my full PPR rankings? Dalvin Cook, where art thou? We have Dalvin Cook at 37, and I have Gabriel Davis currently. Where art thou, Gabriel Davis? I have Gabriel Davis at 40. So at that point, we're just going to pivot and play Dalvin. Again, if you think that, if you truly do believe, okay, without a shadow of a doubt, that Gabriel Davis will score a touchdown today, then he will be a significantly better play than Dalvin. It's not to say that Dalvin won't score a touchdown, but if Gabriel Davis is going to score a touchdown, his performance in terms of averages when he scores touchdowns is going to be significantly higher in a full PPR than what Dalvin could put forth. But again, that's the ever elusive. Therefore, I go with Dalvin. Tress says, I need 2. AJ Dillon, Rondell Moore, Terrace Marshall, Samaje Perine, James Cook, Edwards, Drake London, Dulcich. Thank you and happy Thanksgiving. Out of the group, again, I don't know who's healthy and I don't know who's playing. So if I was just to pick off top of my head right now, it would be Terrace Marshall, and then following that up with probably playing Kenyon Drake, considering I don't know whether or not Joe Mixon is going this week, so Samaje Perine's a question mark, and I don't even know if Rondell Moore's playing. So for right now, it would be Drake and Terrace Marshall. Jan says, Bills defense or Ravens defense this week? I have the Bills defense ahead of the Ravens this week. Dalton Robinson says, what do you expect from Barkley to do this week with the injured offensive line in a full PPR? I mean, what do I expect him to do? I'm going to hope that he gets a lot of utilization in the receiving game. That is my biggest fear. If he's not able to get enough targets, we could see a very lackluster performance from him, and that's why I've moved him down to where he's at. Again, it is a matter of game script, and if in fact Daniel Jones wants to toss the ball in his direction, we'll be in a fantastic position. But otherwise, the lower ranking kind of represents, I think, less potential upside in the rushing game, and maybe even less potential upside for even touchdowns in that regard, if that offense isn't able to move the ball as efficiently as they're normally able to. Brandon Frederick says, full PPR. My team is Hurts, Rashad White, Jeff Wilson Jr., Diggs, A.J. Brown, Waddle, and Hawkinson. Trade away Diggs and White for Christian McCaffrey and Ayuk. Christian McCaffrey and Ayuk. In a full PPR, I'd probably say no. Mainly because I truly do believe that Diggs has more potential value than McCaffrey rest of the season in a full PPR. So I think you're taking a little bit of a discount there. And if Rashad White absolutely just dethrones Leonard Fournette, it could be all the trouble. So I don't think I'm making that move, actually. Malcolm S. says, pick 3. Have to sit 1. We have Barkley, Cook, Walker, and Pollard. If I'm sitting 1, I'm legitimately going to sit Cook at that point. As for your follow-up, also, should I assume Fields is going to play or fire up Kirk Cousins? I would rather assume that Fields is going to play, and if he doesn't, I'd pivot to another option later this week, even if it's like a Ryan Tannehill. Mo Money says, full PPR, trade away Jamal Williams and Higgins for Andrews. No, thank you. You'd have to be in like a 4 to 6 or 8 team league to make that trade. I don't think you can make that in a 10 to 12 team league. There's too much depth you're giving away. Catherine Stokely says, full PPR, Singletary, Stevenson, and Mixon, McLaurin, and Pittman. Do I replace any of these with Devonta Smith this week against Green Bay? Yeah, I think I'm probably... Okay, so Stevenson's... Okay, let me think about this. Okay, so here's the thing, right? So you have to play Stevenson and Singletary today. If in fact we get into a position where Mixon doesn't play, then of course you play Devonta Smith in his position, so you put Mixon in the flex there. Otherwise, if Mixon is to start actually, you know what? Even if Mixon is to start in a full PPR, I would then just play Smith over Pittman this week. Catherine, thank you. Dalton Robinson says, if Lenny is ruled out, where do you rank White? If Lenny is ruled out, Rachaad White is a top 12 running back this week. Probably sits at number 12. Thank you. Mr. Tress says it was a drop 2 on the prior question. Aha, you need a drop 2. If I'm dropping 2 of these options, it is going to be... I'm dropping James Cook, and I'm also dropping Greg Dulcich there. Thank you. John S. says, hey, Andrew, and okay, I need 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, in a flex. My options are Christian McCaffrey, Kenneth Walker, Ramondre Stevenson, Aaron Jones, Jeff Wilson Jr., Stephon Diggs, T. Higgins, and Waddle. Okay, so first and foremost, okay, you have too many good options. I mean, that's just what it is, right? Like, I don't know what to tell you besides you're probably going to end up playing the wrong guys this week just because you have too many good players. That is the blessing and the curse of having a stacked roster as such. So it's Christian McCaffrey and Kenneth Walker as the RB1 and 2. I would play Jeff Wilson Jr. as your flex, and I would play Diggs and Waddle as... Yeah, I'd probably play Diggs and Waddle as your 1 and 2 there. But again, we'll get there. If in fact Chase is out, then you play Diggs with Higgins. Thank you. Justin says, where do you have London ranked? He's literally number 37. He's off screen, number 37. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Charles R. in the chat was saying, full PPR, Myers, Fournette, Garrett Wilson, Palmer, or even Hollywood Brown. Considering, again, we are not 100% certain as to what Fournette's status is. If I was just to give you an answer as of this moment, as to in a full PPR, who do I trust more out of this group? Let's go to my wide receiver rankings. We have Garrett Wilson there. At this point, I'm probably very comfortable. It's between Myers and Garrett Wilson. I have Garrett Wilson higher in a full PPR, quite frankly. I even have Palmer potentially even higher. So at this point, yeah, I'm probably playing one of those 2 other options. So we'll wait until we get to Sunday, Carlos there, and pivot there accordingly based on what we end up seeing. But I think Wilson's probably my primary number 1 in that regard. Where is Kyler in your quarterback rankings? Shades, I currently have him at number 20. I moved him down a significant margin, considering I truly don't think that I honestly believe that there is going to be a scenario here this week where outside of D-Hop, the next best next best receiver in that offense, healthy, is going to be AJ Green this weekend. And going up against the Los Angeles Chargers, that doesn't seem like a great week there in my mind. Seth and Ryan Barrett says, start 1 at wide receiver and 1 at flex. Olave, Sutton, Ayuk, Watson, Jamal, Swift. If I'm starting 1 at wide receiver, 1 at flex, I'm probably starting Ayuk at wide receiver and Jamal Williams at the flex there. Thank you. Rico says, who should I start at my option player? So pretty much super flex. Cousins, Pickett, or Rachaad White. Man, I don't like the implication here because I don't know if Rachaad White's going to be the lone back. If I had 100% confirmation that Rachaad White had no Leonard Fournette in his back pocket, I would tell you to play Rachaad White over both those quarterbacks. But considering we don't have the option to do so, I think you probably are in a scenario where you just have to... Yeah, if it's me, I'm probably waiting, and I'm either playing Kenny Pickett or Rachaad White. Chris Vela says, trade Pickens for Rachaad White, desperate for a running back, and stack the wide receiver, holding, what does it say? Holding on for playoff hopes by a thread. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you need running back desperately, let's make the move. Absolutely. Lucas says, start Godwin or Gabriel Davis. It depends on scoring format, whether it's half, full, standard, all of the above. At this moment, I'm probably more inclined... Let me think about this. Yeah, let's just play Gabe Davis because you didn't mention, I'm assuming you probably mean half PPR. Again, the rankings are on screen for half PPR, so maybe you didn't mean half, but either way, Gabe Davis is the suggestion there at this moment in comparison to Chris Godwin. Appreciate it. After Lucas's question, we had another Lucas in the chat. How about that? Back-to-back Lucas, one with a C, one with a K. Interesting. It says pick 3, Chubb, Pollard, Ramondre, Kyler. Interesting. I'm playing all 3 running backs. Legitimately, I'm going to play all 3 running backs. Thank you. As Dean, Zach says, hey man, start 1, Murray, Zeke, Foreman, Swift. If I'm playing one out of the group, I'm playing Latavius Murray in a full PPR. Thank you. Garrett says Prize Picks. Yeah, you know what? That makes, great point, Garrett. We'll get to that in a moment. Just want to remind you guys again, for those of you who are just joining us, we have up-to-date rankings on screen as of this morning. So if you want my idea as to where I'm going with potential plays for today, in specific in the 3 games that are being played today with the 6 teams, this should give you a little bit of a glimpse. We'll once again have updated rankings by Sunday morning to, kind of get a better depiction as to where we're kind of pivoting in the direction of once we get to Sunday, once we have a full array of information in regards to injuries and potential options for Sunday's games. Again, for those of you who are just joining us and you're not yet already, be sure to subscribe. Also, be sure to click the like button down below. Also, if you guys haven't yet already, be sure to check out Prize Picks. As of today, they currently have a promotion going on where Justin Jefferson just needs literally 1 receiving yard. So if you go ahead, travel to the website, the link down in the description, use promo code Andrew. When you make a first-time deposit, that first-time deposit is immediately doubled up to $100. You can go ahead and put together an entry with, Justin Jefferson included, obviously picking more on his given statistic. That's the whole point. We're picking more or less on a given player statistic and pairing them up with other entries and potentially winning some money there. So check that out today. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, let me see here. So in regards to Higgins or ETN, says Jaden Nelson, I think that, again, that's a Sunday question. If Jamar Chase is out, I'm playing Higgins. If he's not, I probably roll with ETN there. Let me see here. Where is that? Okay. Just want to make sure there's no... What the heck is that? Why would that even be a notification? That's extremely strange. Okay, let's see here. Chris in the chat was saying, would you flex ETN, Sutton, or Myers this week? Yeah, I'd rather play ETN. I think he just has more upside, certainly. Camilo Garcia says, start 2 wide receivers and a flex. CeeDee Lamb, D-Hop, Keenan Allen, Jeff Wilson Jr., Garrett Wilson. Also, okay, so let's answer the first question, Camilo. So first and foremost, the 2 wide receivers that I'm playing are D-Hop and Keenan Allen. Actually, no, sorry, what am I saying? CeeDee Lamb and D-Hop, boom, boom, done. As for your flex, it's Jeff Wilson Jr. So unfortunately, yes, you are benching Keenan Allen and Garrett Wilson, but I don't think it's really unfortunate considering you have 3 stud options with Lamb, Hopkins, and Jeff Wilson. Follow-up question is, do you think that it is a better start for Dak today or wait for Fields? I'd rather play Dak. I think there's far more safety and just as much... You know what? No, it's not just as much upside, but I think with an injured shoulder, it is just as much upside as of the current circumstance as to what we could potentially expect to see from Fields. So I just rather play Dak there. Thank you. Let's see here. We had Jersey Styles. Okay, Jersey Styles was talking to somebody else. Alex Aldana says, Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys as well. Thank you very much. Would you trade Chubb away for Amon-Ra St. Brown plus a mid-first round pick? Dude, I don't know what the rest of your team looks like. I don't know if your team is a contender. I don't even know if this is a keeper league or if this is a dynasty league. I need more information on that, Alex. I appreciate that. Thank you. Donald, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Where are we at here? Harsh sends in a question, or not even sending in a question, just in the chat was saying, Elijah Mitchell, DeAndre Swift, or Kieran Williams? Kieran Williams in a full PPR could grab my attention. He certainly is higher ranked than Elijah Mitchell in my mind, but I think DeAndre Swift probably takes the cake there, Harsh. K-Mac Murray says, can you look up my comment? Yeah, of course. K-Mac, where are we at here? K-Mac, where art thou? K-Mac says, what's your opinion on this trade? Full PPR, Jamal Williams, Palmer, and Rashad White for Terry McLaurin and Everett. I'd rather have the Jamal Williams side of this trade. Thank you. That's my opinion on the matter. I don't know if that really gives you much of an indication, but I just prefer one of these sides over the other. Is Cole Kmet a good start? I think it purely is going to be dependent on who's starting at quarterback. I think either way, he is a decent starting option because of the willingness of the offense to get him continuously utilized. So regardless of whether it is Justin Fields or Trevor Siemian, certainly he has more touchdown upside with Fields because the offense has more of a likelihood of getting down the field. But I think he's still a decent option even with Siemian potentially playing this week. Let's see here. Rugby Guy Bean says, trade Jamal Williams and Christian Watson for Jefferson. Bad trade, question mark. full PPR, my running backs are Etienne, Najee. We have Etienne, Najee, Pacheco, and Cordero Patterson. So we'll be trading Jamal Williams and the hot hand of Christian Watson for Justin Jefferson. To be honest, I'm not against it. In a full PPR, I'm fine with it. Considering your running back depth, you can live with what you have. Is it risky? Yes, it is risky. But I think you can pan out. I think it pay off, potentially. Because, again, if Watson stops scoring touchdowns, if Jamal stops scoring touchdowns, which, again, is one of the most difficult factors and difficult things to, have a performance accompany in fantasy, Justin Jefferson could be a big difference maker down in the long run there. All right. So let me see here. A couple more questions that were sent in. Let me go ahead and address them really quickly. So we had, let's see here. Black Jesus sends in a question, says, I need a flex for a full PPR. Keenan Allen, Samaje Perine, Garrett Wilson, or Rachaad White. Again, for right now, it's probably Keenan Allen. If, in fact, we get to Sunday and Fournette's out, it'd be Rachaad White. Thank you. Joel sends in a question. Let's see here, Joel. Or Joel. Pick 2, Godwin, Rachaad White, Slayton. Yeah, I think I'm probably playing both Tampa Bay Bucks this week. Thank you. Billington Bosman says, Gabe Davis, Najee Harris, Pacheco, or Rachaad White in the flex. I'd rather play Najee out of the group. Thank you. Ryan Walton says, would you really start Wilson over Chubb and Kamara? I would, yes. Again, you got to remember, in the last 2 weeks that Wilson has participated with the Miami Dolphins offense, in a half PPR, he's averaging 18 fantasy points per game. In a full PPR, it's probably even more. It's probably 20 fantasy points per game in the last 2 weeks. He scored a touchdown in both games. He has clearly been the number 1 running back in terms of rushing attempts, targets, snaps, across the board, efficiency. He's clearly the number 1. And now they take on the Houston Texans, who over the course of the last 5 weeks have been giving up nearly 27 points per game in terms of rushing statistics alone to opposing running backs. They're going to run through that defense, and I expect truly for Jeff Wilson Jr. to be a fantastic play this week, if not even higher ranked than where I have him. Will Taylor says, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. I hope you guys have a good football day. I mean, again, some of you may not be eating the full course of the turkey, ham, gauntlet. And if you're not, no big deal. It is what it is, But the whole point of today is that, hey, we're home. Maybe some of us are at work. If you're at work, hey, listen, fight the good fight, okay? Cash that paycheck, get out of there. But let's hope for some good football today, huh? Where are we at? Okay, so as for your question, Will, Kamara, Mixon, Ramondre, Montgomery, start 3, Keenan. Okay, so if we're starting 3 out of those potential options, I'm playing Ramondre number 1, Kamara number 2, and if Mixon's active, I'd play him over Montgomery. If he's not, then we play Montgomery on Sunday. And then start 3, Keenan Allen, Godwin, Olave, St. Brown. St. Brown's number 1, Keenan Allen's number 2, Godwin's number 3, Olave's number 4. Thank you. Anvesh, let me see here. Anvesh says Bills defense or Dolphins. Sorry, Bills, Dolphins, or Commanders defense this week. I prefer the Dolphins over the bunch. Again, with the Houston Texans pivoting from Davis Mills to Kyle Allen, it opens up a little bit more opportunity for chaos in that offense and, of course, more upside for the Dolphins defense. Thank you. Frank Grillo says happy Thanksgiving. Sit 1 this week. We have Zeke, we have Pierce, we have Murray. At this point, I'm sitting Zeke. Dak or Herbert this week. I'd rather play Herbert this week. As for also flex Pierce or Devonta Smith. In a full PPR, I would rather play Devonta Smith. In a half, I'd probably go Pierce. Now, if you're in a situation, Frank, where you're like, listen, Andrew, I'm gonna keep it a full stack. If we're in a situation where you're going to be home and you're going to be watching football all day, you probably want to start Zeke and Dak Prescott. And I think that they're close enough in my rankings to where if you wanted to play them both, I wouldn't mind it. But the one that I prefer over the other is just playing Dak over Herbert rather than Zeke over Murray. That's the only thing that I would say. Appreciate it. I don't know what the heck that is. Very much. Okay, let's see that. Interesting. Where are we at here? Flight Zone Music says, where are we at? Play Fields or go with Lawrence. Again, TBD, to be determined. We'll see. Not 100% certain because we don't even know, and those guys don't play today. Santosh Nepal says start 3. Dalvin, Barkley, Walker, Jamal. At this point, I'm sitting Dalvin this week. Jaden Molina says, can you say why Kyler Murray is ranked so low? Yeah, at this point, it's mainly because I don't expect Marquise Hollywood Brown. I don't expect Rondell Moore or Greg Dortch to play. And with no Zach Ertz, it practically just means that this offense is DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, and James Conner. And I don't think that's enough to justify playing Kyler this week against the Chargers defense. Judy doesn't make the list. I don't even know if Judy's playing. Again, you guys got to remember, it's Thursday. It's not Sunday morning. We don't have the answers for Sunday morning as a definitive fact because, again, we don't know what Thursday's practice report entails and tomorrow's practice report entails. So until we get that, we won't know for 100% certainty. Let's see here. Where art thou? Where art thou? Where are we at? Okay. Placencia says Drake, Jamal Williams, Elijah Mitchell, or Alec Pierce. Yeah, it's Jay Williams there. Thank you. Appreciate it. Impressive says JJ, Chase at my wide receiver spots. We have ETN and K9 as my running backs. We have Lockett in the flex with Jamal Williams on the bench. Not sure if I should remove Lockett and replace remove Lockett, a running back, or replace Chase with Lockett. As of right now, it would probably, I think it'd just be safer to put Lockett at wide receiver, play Jamal in the, so this is what you should do actually. You should play Jamal at RB. Okay, so this is what I'm going to express to you. So your starting lineup should look like Justin Jefferson at wide receiver 1, Lockett at wide receiver 2, Jamal at RB1, K9 at RB2, with ETN in the flex. If in fact we get to Sunday and Chase is playing, you keep him in the lineup. You move him into the lineup for Lockett and then you roll with it. But that's what I'm looking at right now. Thank you. James Smith says, happy Thanksgiving. Half PPR. David Montgomery, Jamar Chase, or Michael Pittman Jr. Pick 2. If I'm picking 2 again, if we don't know, guys. I mean, again, I don't even know if there's a guarantee that Jamar Chase plays. He don't play today, I'll tell you that much. But if he's playing on Sunday, he's in my lineup. Again, I have him ranked on screen as a top 12 option for a reason because I do trust him if he's active. So if, in fact, all those 3 options are active, I'm playing Montgomery and Chase. ETN or Stevenson this week. It's close and I'm scared. Yeah, at this point, I'm playing Stevenson, especially considering you're playing in a PPR scoring format. There's far more upside in that regard for Stevenson. Marco Rivera says, should I get Akers or Williams at running back and hold them on my bench? If you're playing in a full PPR, I'd rather have Kieran Williams. If it's a standard league, I'd probably go with, what's it called? Akers. Billington Bosman says, trade Lamb, Pirine, Pacheco for Jamar Chase and Juju. Lamb, Pirine, Pacheco for Chase and Juju. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I don't mind that. Again, if Chase is healthy, I think he's got just as much, if not more value than Lamb going forward. Rusty Wright says, can you elaborate on Juju, Ayuk, Olave? I have all 3 of the options. If we're to elaborate on the options primarily, it has to do with consistency of play. Olave has been the least consistent of the group. Over the course of the last month, he's had himself a couple good games here and there, but unless he's going to have that massive touchdown performance, it's tough to trust him. In comparison to Ayuk, who is coming off of a 2-touchdown week, sure, but prior to that, 5+ catches and 81+ receiving yards in 5 consecutive games. The volume of opportunity and the potential quarterback plays associated with these players lead me in those specific directions. Paris Lark says, Hawkinson or Freiermuth? Again, Hawkinson's 28 targets in last 3 games are difficult to argue against. So at this point, I'm probably rolling with Hawkinson. I would not mind the Freiermuth play because, again, I think they're very close in terms of value. Let's see here. Joe R. says, Dak, ETN, K9, JJ, Kirk, Knox, Jamal. We have Olave, Singletary, Komet, Mixon, Pirine, Ayuk. Any changes to be made? Any changes to be made? I don't think so. No. If you're playing Dak, ETN, no, you keep it as such. You're good to go there, Joe. Appreciate it. Lon Duvall says, Elliott or Rachaad White this week? I think I would wait and I would play Rachaad White. Jets or Miami defense? Okay, that makes a good point. Let's go ahead and let's talk about defensive rankings, shall we? Okay. Defense and kicker rankings. Let's go over them once again, just so we're all on the same page. We mentioned this earlier, but we'll once again mention this again. Let's start with our top 14 defenses, shall we? Number 1 this week is Dallas Cowboys. Number 2 is Kansas City Chiefs. Number 3, New England Patriots. Number 4, New York Jets. Number 5, Miami Dolphins. Number 6, Denver Broncos. Number 7, Carolina Panthers. Number 8, Buffalo Bills. Number 9, Philadelphia Eagles. Number 10, Baltimore Ravens. Number 11, San Francisco 49ers. Number 12, Washington Commanders. Number 13, Pittsburgh Steelers. And number 14, Indianapolis Colts. Let's talk about our top 14 kickers. We have Tyler Bass, number 1. Number 2, Brett Maher. Number 3, Jason Myers. Number 4, Nick Folk. Number 5, Daniel Carlson. Number 6, Harrison Butker. Number 7 is Justin Tucker. Number 8, Cameron Dicker. Number 9, Robbie Gould. Number 10, Graham Gano. Number 11, Matthew Wright. Number 12, Evan McPherson. Number 13, Ryan Suckup. And number 14, Chase McLaughlin. Thank you. Okay, half PPR, Barkley or Evans, says Anthony. Wow. That's a really tough one, actually. That is a legitimate tough one, huh? Oh, man. Haha, wow. What do I want to do with those two? Decisions. What do I even have them ranked in my rankings in a half PPR flex? Let's see here. In my half PPR flex, I have Mike Evans. I have Mike Evans ahead of him. My goodness. I think it's not that far of a separation either. Man, if Mike Evans had been consistent up until this point, I'd have 1,000% confidence in making that call and saying, yes, it has to be Evans. But at this point, I have very low confidence that it is a given that Mike Evans outscores him. So I'd probably just play Barkley at that point and not risk it. Let's see here. Eugene says mentions a question in the chat, was saying, I have Mondre, I have ETN, I have Chubb. Okay. But I don't really trust Chubb against the Bucs defense. Literally, Chubb against the top defenses is a non-factor. What do you think? I mean, at this point, if you're just suggesting the idea of playing ETN over Chubb, I'm fine with it. I don't have a problem with it. I would only ask who you're playing in your flex, right? Like, I would want to play all three of those guys. Kenneth says, yo, chat, should I run Gabriel Davis today or play Christian Kirk? Chat, what do we think? What are we thinking, huh? I'm not even saying look at my rankings. Like, I'm actually curious. What do you guys actually think? Do you think Gabriel Davis is a better play this week than Christian Kirk? Because I could be wrong. I could be 1,000% wrong on my evaluation of the player this week. Let me see here. What else we have? We have Weston says Van Jefferson or Dante Foreman. Yeah, it's going to be Dante Foreman this week, or Deontay Foreman. Big Rick says, what's up, Andrew? Start Michael Pittman Jr. or Latavius Murray in a full PPR. I'd rather play Latavius Murray. Thank you. GG Play in the chat was saying, one running back, one flex, Pacheco, Carter, Myers, Pittman, Sutton, Peoples-Jones. I'm already starting Barkley, Gabriel Davis, and JJ. So if we're starting one running back and one flex out of those potential options for this week, the running back's Michael Carter. The flex option would then be, do I want to play? I don't know if I actually want to. Decisions. I think I probably play. Goodness. I probably play Michael Pittman there. Yeah, I probably play Michael Pittman with Carter. Thank you. Uriel in the chat was saying pick 2, full PPR, Myers, Boyd, Campbell, Pacheco, Mitchell, and Judy. At this point, Myers is a for sure play. As for after him in a full PPR, I'd probably go with Campbell. Yeah, that's probably the direction I'm looking towards. Dale Clark in the chat was saying pick 1, flex, Chris Olave, Josh Palmer, Latavius Murray, David Njoku, or Michael Carter. I'm probably leaning towards Latavius Murray there. I could have my mind changed and go with Chris Olave, but it's in a full PPR, it really could be changed. It's mainly because of that matchup, man. The 49ers are getting slaughtered by receivers as of late. So it probably is Olave or or Murray. I mean, again, they don't play till Sunday, so I can't give you a definitive 1000% one way or the other. But I'm leaning towards the idea that Olave could actually be the guy. Let's see here. Where are okay? So let's see here. Let's update this chat. All right, cool. Zeke or Jacoby Myers in a full PPR. Brandon, I'd go with Jacoby Myers this week there. Let's see here. Jersey, what are you saying, Jersey? Rashad White, Raheem Mostert, Swift, Cordero Patterson, full PPR, start 3. Jersey, I would probably go with. Goodness. Yeah, I'm actually, without a doubt in my mind, I'm playing Olave for sure out of the group. And then it's a matter of. Okay, this is my suggestion here, Jersey. I play Olave and I play Swift. And then if Fournette is active, I play Mostert. If Fournette is inactive, I play Rashad White. Hopefully that helps. Thank you. Let's see here. Let's go back to the donations that were sent in. Let me see if I've caught up. Travis Ward sent in something. Let me see here. Travis. Control F. Travis Ward says trade Fournette and Pollard for a top 5 running back. Trade Fournette and Pollard. Yeah, if you're gonna go get Derrick Henry, no problem. Let's do it easily. Let's see here. We had Sip send in a question. Sip, thank you. Says full PPR. Christian Watson, Darius Slayton, David Montgomery, or Paris Campbell. Pick 2. I can definitively say that I'm not playing Slayton today in comparison to the other receiving options you have. So I want to play Paris Campbell and Christian Watson there. I would consider playing Montgomery over Paris Campbell if, in fact, Fields suits up this week. Romans 828 says, choose 2, Freiermuth, Kittle, Josh Palmer. If I'm picking 2 of those 3 options, it's Kittle and Palmer. Thank you. Lamar, Jacoby Brissett this week, says Joe R. I'm going to play Lamar this week. Smooth Criminal Entertainment says happy Turkey Day. Should I start Swift or Pirine in a full PPR? I don't know if Joe Mixon's even going to be active, so you just have to play Swift this week. Jacob says, who would you start out of Olave, Wilson, Terry? Olave, Wilson, Terry, Pittman. I'd play Terry McLaurin out of the group. Thank you. Metal Wings says, standard pick 3. We need Keenan out. Okay, we have Keenan out. We have Godwin. We have Jamal Williams. We have Christian Watson. We have Pittman. We have Devon Smith. In a standard scoring format, out of the potential options, I'm looking for touchdown upside exclusively. So I'm playing Jamal Williams, Christian Watson, and then out of the remaining options there, I'm probably leaning in the direction of playing Chris Godwin. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Where's the chat? Okay. Benjamin Zerlo says, did I miss defensive rankings? Yes, you did, but we'll get back to it in just a moment. Montgomery or Swift? I'm playing Montgomery there this week. Jonathan. Austin says, full PPR, Jamal Williams or Michael Pittman Jr., all of his targets, question mark. Okay, let's say, for example, theoretically, Michael Pittman Jr. has himself 6 catches for 80 yards this week. A pretty good game, 14-point performance. Great. We'd love to see it. The only issue is Jamal Williams has significantly higher upside. So therein lies the risk that is purely there when you're comparing the running back versus wide receiver conversation, especially when we're considering a running back that doesn't get receiving work but has all the touchdown upside in the world. It is extremely risky to not play Jamal Williams, but again, when we're talking about baseline of floor production, worst case scenario for Pittman, he gets 10 points. Worst case scenario for Jamal Williams, he gets 5, right? So it's a matter of, are you okay with the 5 that could potentially be a 25-point play this week, or do you want to play the 10-point player that could be a 15-point guy? You know, like that's the difference maker, right? And at that point, I'm willing to risk it all with Jamal. Lenny or Jeff Wilson Jr. Ryan, I'm for sure in on Jeff Wilson this week. Again, guys, for those of you who are just joining us, thank you. If you guys have not yet already, be sure to click the like button down below. As of right now, I do have Jeff Wilson significantly higher than the prior option mentioned. St. Brown or Latavius Murray? Frank, I'm going to play St. Brown this week. I think the fact that he's quite literally the only receiving option in this offense, it just makes it that much more of a solidified play there. especially in the matchup in itself. Eagles defense or Jets defense rest of season? Rest of season, I'd rather have the Jets defense. Let's see here. Jersey says, would you play Carter over Swift in a full PPR? Yes, I would. Jersey, I would. Dimitri says Pollard or Jones? I'd rather play Pollard. I like Jones. Don't get me twisted. I like Jones a lot this week. It's just if you're picking one or the other, it is certainly going to be Pollard from my perspective. Sean says trade Jones and Hurts for Christian McCaffrey. I already have Tua on my bench and I have Barkley as my other running back. I think you're giving away a little too much for McCaffrey in my mind. I think you're overpaying for his current value because I truly do think that Aaron Jones could very easily equate the value in which Christian McCaffrey is bringing forth right now. So I would say you're overpaying for that at this moment. Let's see here. We had Metal Wings. Okay, so after Metal Wings, we had Cozy Solo. Says in a full PPR, is Geno, Taylor, Jeff Wilson, Higgins, Waddle, Schultz, and Singletary, with my bench looking like Fournette, Keenan, and Rachaad White, any changes to be made? Quite frankly, no. I think those are your stud options, and those are the guys you should be playing just outright. So, yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that, Cozy Solo. Thank you. Ray Mangon says, trade Kirk for Olave? No, I wouldn't. I'd rather have Kirk rest of the season. Also, if I have Jeff Wilson, Etienne, Kirk, and Saquon, who should I sit? I'm scared about Saquon. Yeah, listen, at this point, if I have those three options, Ray, I am legitimately sitting Christian Kirk, and I would rather play Jeff Wilson, Etienne, and Saquon because I know that they have significantly higher upside, potentially. All right, let's see here. Let me scroll back here. Joe Burrow or Justin Fields this week? Jack, I'd rather play Joe Burrow. Again, like the rankings say on screen, that's the direction I'm going in. Thoughts on Jamal Williams from Detroit today? I expect him to score a touchdown, minimum, 1. As to whether he does more, that is a completely different conversation. Washington or Denver defense rest of the season, says Rico. I have to look at the strength of schedule, but I would probably lean towards the idea of Washington as of right now off the top of my head. Thoughts on Christian Watson? I am risking it with him. He is very much so touchdown dependent. So if we're in a situation where if in fact he ends up with 2 catches for 20 yards and no touchdowns, I get it, but I cannot afford to leave him on my bench on some of my teams. In other scenarios, you may have better players than him, or at least close enough players where they're similar enough options. But at this point, I'm willing to risk it in the given matchup. Let's see here: Christian Watson, Paris Campbell, Rachaad White, and half PPR. At this point, again, that is a very much so Sunday related question. But if Fournette is playing, I'm probably going Watson there. Otherwise, if Fournette is not playing, like I mentioned before, Rachaad White would be a top 12 running back option for the remainder of the week. Would you start Zeke over Rachaad White? I mean, as of right now, I have to, right? Because I don't know the backfield situation with. So yes, I would currently, yes, I would. Thoughts on Etienne job with Henderson with the Jags? Yeah, like I was mentioning earlier, I don't expect Etienne to lose out touches. I think it's just a matter of them improving their second RB rather than bringing in someone that is going to vie for touches ultimately. Where art thou? Let's see here. Debo or J. Will in the flex, full PPR. I think, again, I have to play J. Will. It's too difficult to leave him on the bench. It is. Because he has too much upside. It's the same reason that I have to play Saquon in a lot of these scenarios, even though I don't like the matchup. Sutton or Palmer this week? If I'm not mistaken, I have Palmer ahead of him on screen. Do I not? Maybe I'm mistaken. Josh Palmer at 28, and yes, and Sutton at 31. So yeah, that's the direction I'm going with. Let's see here. PPR. Am I playing Montgomery, Amari, or McLaurin in the flex? Probably McLaurin or Amari there. But for right now, it's probably McLaurin. Should I trade Nick Chubb away from Kamara? No, I wouldn't. Sorry if you answered this already. Should I start Foreman, DPJ, Rachaad White, or Jamal Williams in the flex? At this point, you just have to play Jamal. Choose 2, Jamal, Fournette, or Mostert. At this point, again, Jamal is the primary number 1. Depending on whether or not Fournette is active is what determines the final of those 2 potential plays, Ronaldo. Marcel Vega says Michael Pittman Jr., Devonta Smith, Jacoby Myers, or Zeke start 2. If I'm starting 2 out of these potential 4 options, it's probably Devonta Smith and Michael Pittman, or Devonta Smith and Jacoby Myers, depending on who you expect to score a touchdown between those 2 options. It's probably more potential touchdown upside with Jacoby Myers. So it's probably like a Jacoby Myers, Devonta Smith kind of a play there. Let's see here. Sutton. Okay, we already did that one. Pittman or Juwan Johnson. Sorry, Pittman and Juwan Johnson for Sutton and Kittle. Yeah, I'll take the Sutton and Kittle side of that deal. Thank you. Burks, Rachaad White, or Swift in the flex. That's a tough one, huh? That is definitely a tough one. At this point, I would legitimately wait and see what Rachaad White and Burks can present to us later in the week, Daniel. I would not play Swift. Again, with the fact that he's playing about 30% of the offensive snaps, getting barely close to 10 touches per game, and quite frankly, not efficient in those touches, it's just tough for me to trust him. Now, he could go for a massive game today. Great. Love to see it, but there is nothing that has indicated the potential of that ever occurring over the course of the last 4 games that we have seen. Let's see here. Rico. Okay, so we did Rico's question. Raymond Brown says, hey, can you answer my question? Raymond, let's see where you're at, man. Where's this question? Raymond Brown says, in a half PPR, I need to start Swift. Okay, sorry. I need to start Swift, Devonta Smith, or Watson. Hurts is my quarterback. Thanks for the help. Okay, so at this point, what do we want to do with Swift, Devonta? Yeah, I mean, even in a half PPR, I'm probably playing Watson out of the group. More touchdown upside. If you want, you can play Swift you could play Devonta Smith and have that stack option between him and Hurts, but I think I'm going with Watson out of the group. Dylan Nab in the chat asking earlier was, why is there no Mooney on screen? Mooney is not involved because of the Sauce Gardner matchup and the question at quarterback as to who the heck is even going to be starting this week. You know what I mean? So at this point, it's just safer not to have to play Mooney against Sauce Gardner. Chuck G says, full PPR Foreman or Rachaad White in the flex this week. Like I was mentioning earlier, if Rachaad White is without Rachaad White, is without Fournette, he is a top 12 option. If Fournette is active, I play Foreman. Flex Olave or Dalvin Cook. In a full PPR scoring format, you might have me on the ropes here, Michael. I might have to pick Olave there. Yeah, actually, I would play Olave there. Etienne or Jeff Wilson Jr. full PPR. Julio, I play Jeff Wilson this week, certainly. Let's see here. We had Paris Lark sending a question, says Happy Turkey Day. Flex, Chubb or Godwin in a half PPR. I'd rather play Chubb this week. Drew says Myers or Pacheco in a half PPR. Fairly certain, could be mistaken, but I'm fairly certain I have Myers ahead of him in my rankings, right, Drew? I mean, you tell me. Either way, at this point, yeah, I mean, you're part of the Patreon. You know it. I'm still playing Myers there. Pacheco is great. Don't get me wrong. But Pacheco does not score touchdowns. And running backs for the the Kansas City Chiefs will not score touchdowns. I mean, I'm just curious. I want to put this in perspective. Where are running back touchdowns for Kansas City this year on the ground? So the Kansas City Chiefs this season have 4 rushing touchdowns amongst their running backs in 10 games. That is a pretty ridiculous number. So again, touchdowns are probably going to elude him. Therefore, we're just going to play Myers there in the format. Miles Hakeem says, is Gordon droppable? Yes. Random sends in a question, says, who wins? Pollard or Ayuk or Kamara? Sorry, Pollard or Ayuk or my Kamara? So if I'm picking like Pollard Ayuk versus Kamara, who wins rest of the season? I'm beginning to think that the Pollard and Ayuk conversation is probably the better rest of the way as of this moment. Fred Proctor in the chat was saying, is Lazard a good play this week? I think he certainly is. The only thing that really separates Lazard from being a okay play to being a really good play is a touchdown. That's it. He just needs that 6-point influx, right? And of course, Christian Watson has been dominating down in the red zone and of course in the deep receiving game in majority of those opportunities. So yes, Lazard is going to get himself an ample amount of targets, but it still is sketchy if he's not scoring a touchdown. That's the biggest concern. Chris Mills in the chat was saying, is Rachaad White a lock if he starts Sunday? If Rachaad White, okay, I'll say this again, and I'll probably mention it 10 more times later on in today's stream, but either way, if Rachaad White has no Leonard Fournette in his back pocket, and Leonard Fournette is actually kept out of the game, Rachaad White is legitimately a top 12 running back in the given week. Plays against Cleveland, probably goes for over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm not even kidding. He probably goes for 20 fantasy points. Purely based on matchup and, of course, opportunity. All right, Lilish sends in a question. Says, in a PPR scoring format, what are we doing here? We have Freiermuth or Rachaad White. TBD. Again, like I was just mentioning regarding Rachaad White, TBD. Also, half PPR, P. Ryan or Swift. Play Swift today. Again, I don't think we can afford to wait and figure out whether or not P. Ryan can go. No idea if Mixon is going to play, and Swift has been trash. Yeah, listen, Swift in the last 2 weeks has been manageable, right? He's scored a touchdown in each of the last 2 games, so he's been able to get the job done. Can he do that again this week? To be determined. But at this point, you kind of have to play him and just hope. Jersey says Rachaad White, Raheem Mostert, Swift, Carter, Patterson, Olave, full PPR. Star 3, thank you, Andrew. No problem. So let's see here, Jersey. So of the potential options you have, I would want to play, yeah, like I was mentioning earlier, I want to play Olave, and I want to play Carter, and I probably want to play Rachaad White. And if Rachaad White does not go, I play Mostert in his stead. But it's Olave, Carter, and White as of right now. Mostert as the flexing option. As for your follow-up question, super flex, Russ or Goff? I know it's gross. Happy Thanksgiving. At this point, yeah, I'm going to go with, man, I don't like it at all. I'm actually curious real quick. Let me check something. I think I was saying Goff earlier. I think I'm going to change my mind on the matter. I think I legitimately play Russell Wilson, but even me saying it hurts my soul. Damn, dude, I don't know if I can actually trust it. Yeah. Let's play Russell Wilson. I don't trust it. I don't trust it wholeheartedly. I'm kind of half in, half out. I'm on the fence right now. But man, I don't trust either of them. I'm just thinking, like, what's the higher likelihood? Jared Goff torching? You know, it actually is possible. Jacoby Brissett torched his defense. I don't know, man. I don't know anymore. These guys are too difficult. We'll figure that out by Sunday. Let's wait till... Actually, no. Goff plays today. He literally plays in an hour. Let's play Russell Wilson. Just Get It Done says, happy Thanksgiving. Do I start Pollard or White over Eckler, Walker, or JT? No, you don't start Pollard or White over either of those 3 options, unfortunately. I'd love to play Pollard in every scenario that I could potentially do so, because, again, he's today's thumbnail for a reason. I love him every single week that I have a chance to potentially play him, but hey, you got too many good running back options this week, my man. Let's see here. Ando in the chat was saying rest of the season, Jets or Eagles defense. I was mentioning earlier, Jets is my preferred out of the group. Robert says in the chat, play 2 in a full PPR. Jamal Williams, Dameon Pierce, or Sutton. In a full PPR, I would play Jamal and Sutton. Thank you. Let's see here. Any news in regards to anything here? No. Okay. After that, we had Bill says, half PPR. Who do I start? Palmer or Juju in my wide receiver 3 spot? Palmer or Juju? If Juju Smith-Schuster gets a full week of practice, which I'm anticipating he does, I'd rather play him against the Rams than Palmer against the Cardinals. Thank you. Danny Dimes, Mac Jones, or Lockett in the Superflex 4. In the Superflex says Mike Naz. Ooh, Mike, why have you done this to me? Why have you done this to me? Mike, you know what? I'm going to be honest. At this point, you probably have to play Danny Dimes. As much as I like Lockett, his last 3 weeks of performances have purely relied upon touchdown upside. If he doesn't end up getting that, I think we could be in a tough situation where we'd be regretting not starting a quarterback instead of him. So I'd probably go Danny Dimes for that rushing upside potential there. But, I'm scared for the Giants today. I truly am. But, yeah, if I had to choose between Danny Dimes and Mac Jones for today specifically, I'd just rather play Danny Dimes and hope that offensive line is able to maintain for as long as they can. Standard League, Mixon, Najee Harris, White, or Pirine, play 2. At this point, considering you don't have to make that decision today, S10, the hope is that we can play Najee Harris, right? And Rachaad White would be the lone back. If he's not, then you play Mixon. If Mixon's not available and Rachaad White isn't the lone back, you play P-Rod with Najee Harris. Again, a lot of pivoting options. We'll figure that out on Sunday, guys. Again, Sunday is, you know what's funny? For all the prep that I did this week, and I had to do it at an accelerated rate with getting out videos significantly faster than I typically do and doing all the research and getting everything ready for today, it really does feel like a Sunday to me. But I mean, the fact that it's Thursday is going to throw my entire mental clock off by so many days is crazy. Just a reminder, okay? Just because this week's schedule is crazy doesn't mean this isn't going to happen again. In week 16, a reminder, okay? When we get close to Christmas, week 16, there are 10 games on Saturday. So we'll be here on Saturday morning doing the same stuff for that and Sunday morning for that week. So a lot of crazy stuff ahead. I do appreciate you guys continuing to support. Let's see here. Okay, a couple of donations were sent in. Let me keep answering questions in the chat before we get there. Where's DJ Moore ranked? Ian, great question. Let's see here. DJ Moore currently in a half PPR scoring format would sit as my number. Let's scroll over here. DJ Moore is my number 44 ranked wide receiver. So let me give you guys some perspective. So after Donovan Peoples-Jones at 36, number 37 is Drake London. Number 38 is Darius Slayton. Number 39 at a questionable tag is Rondale Moore. Number 40 is Elijah Moore. Number 41 is Marcus Robinson. 42 Zay Jones. 43 Curtis Samuel. 44 DJ Moore. 45 Brandon Cooks. 46 Jarvis Landry. 47 Tyler Boyd. 48 Darnell Mooney. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of perspective as to what we're doing. All right, let me check a couple things here before we continue on. Ethan in the chat was saying bench one, Lockett, Gabe Davis, Pollard, or Christian Kirk. If I'm sitting one out of that group of players, it's probably Gabe Davis, to be honest. It probably is, which is crazy, huh? Play Pacheco or Allen Robinson this week in a full PPR. I'd probably play Pacheco there. I don't trust Bryce Perkins to be that relevant this week. Let me check something. I got to go and look at some of my lineups. So we have the Bills starting against the Detroit Lions to start the day, right? Let me go check a couple things here. I'm going to go check a couple of my Yahoo lineups before I get into a troubling situation later today. All right, what else we have here? Drew Nunn in the chat was saying PPR, flex Olave versus Latavius Murray. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Olave there. First round of the playoffs, need safety. You guys are playing the playoffs now? Why? What have you done? You guys know that there's bye weeks next week, right? Holy moly, you guys are crazy. All right, David sends in a question. Says, PPR, choose one. Dameon Pierce, Christian Watson, Chris Olave. Chris Olave is my suggestion out of the group. Thank you. In a PPR, ER sends in a question. Says, start two. Etienne, Olave, Kirk, Ayuk. Etienne and Kirk would be my suggestion. We're starting both the Jacksonville Jaguars. Dale Clark says, flex one. Njoku, Olave, Josh Palmer, Latavius Murray, Michael Carter. I'm playing Olave out of the group. Thank you. James Duffy says, pick two. Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen, James Robinson, Van Jefferson, Knox, Zay Jones, point per reception. In a point per reception league, I'd rather play Knox and Zay Jones over the rest of the group. Jacob C sends in a question. Says, need two running backs, two wide receivers, and a singular flex in a full PPR scoring format. We have Aaron Jones. We have Etienne. Okay, so those are your 1 and 2 as your running backs. You have Connor, okay. You have Aaron Jones. Sorry, you have A.J. Brown. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Okay, so, and you have CeeDee Lamb. So at that point, you would play Amon-Ra and CeeDee Lamb as your 1 and 2 wide receiver. And then you are waiting for Sunday to determine whether it's Jamar Chase or if it's A.J. Brown. So for right now, again, it's Etienne, Aaron Jones, 1 and 2. CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra, 1 and 2. And we're waiting for Sunday to figure out whether it's Chase or A.J. Brown. Appreciate it. Thank you. Mr. Papa sends in a question. Says, all my eggs in one basket, question mark. In a full PPR, I'm starting Diggs and St. Brown. Should I flex Gabriel Davis or Michael Pittman Jr.? And which running back am I starting, Jamal Williams or Pacheco? I am willing to put all of the eggs into the morning Thanksgiving Day game slate. Gabriel Davis and Jamal Williams, those are my suggestions. Thank you. All the eggs in one basket, my friend. Why Brady over Carr? The assumption is that with a running game and a full bye week to get their offensive line healthy, that Brady would be just as good as him, if not better. Because Carr in the last couple weeks have been like 220, 250 passing yards, sometimes 300 passing yards and 2 touchdowns consecutively for 3 straight weeks. I think there's a very good chance that Brady is just as capable of putting up those numbers, if not better. Is it safe to drop Gus Edwards? I don't know if it's safe. I guess it depends on what kind of a running back depth you have. Albino. Kevin B says full PPR, Zay Jones or Swift? Good question. I probably lean. Oh man, you know what? I'm probably playing Zay Jones there, to be honest. Yeah, I'm probably playing Zay Jones there. Sit one, Olave, Debo, or Singletary. What's your format there, Connor? Michael Carry On says Olave, White, Watson, or Murray in the flex full PPR. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep going with Olave in a lot of these scenarios. Ibrahim Yusuf says, Andrew, can you show defensive rankings and why no Kyler? Again, Kyler's absence is mainly because I don't know who's playing at wide receiver for that team on Sunday. If they're healthy, then I'll play him. But if his second best receiving option is AJ Green this week, guys, I don't want to play him. Not against Asante Samuel Jr., Mike Davis and those boys in the Los Angeles secondary. Let's talk about defensive rankings, okay? Let's go over this again. Number 1, Dallas Cowboys. Number 2, Kansas City Chiefs. Number 3, New England Patriots. Number 4, New York Jets. Number 5, Miami Dolphins. Number 6, Denver Broncos. Number 7, Carolina Panthers. Number 8, Buffalo Bills. Number 9, Philadelphia Eagles. Number 10, Baltimore Ravens. Number 11, San Francisco 49ers. Number 12, Washington Commanders. Number 13, Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 14, we have the Indianapolis Colts. Thank you. Alrighty. Okay, done. Moving on. We had a couple questions in the chat. Oops, sorry about that. Where are we? So after Ibrahim, where was the next question in the chat? Heisenberg says, flex, Kamara, Gibson, or Montgomery. In a full PPR, I would play Kamara. I think there's a confident enough receiving opportunity volume there that I'm confident playing Kamara there this week. Thank you. Sean Murphy in the chat was saying flex PPR, Jamal Williams or Michael Pittman Jr. Jamal Williams or Michael Pittman Jr. Yeah, I mean, I think this is the conversation that we had earlier, right? You can risk the 5 to 25 point play, or you can play the 10 to 15 point play. I'm going Jamal Williams there. Jamal Williams or P. Ryan if Mixon is out. I'd still play Jamal there. Damien says half PPR, DPJ, Mostert, Elijah Mitchell, McKinnon, Demarcus Robinson, or P. Ryan. In a half PPR, I would like to play Raheem Mostert, then DPJ this week. All right. Nexty. Let's see your Nexty. What is that question you had sent in? Nexty says Buccaneers or Patriots defense this week. I play Patriots defense. As for your follow-up, Bucks or Patriots. Okay, yeah. So as for your follow-up, Amari Cooper or Mixon. I would play Amari Cooper this week. And we're good to go. Thank you. Appreciate it. Jan sends in a question, says Latavius Murray or Tyler Higbee. Latavius Murray is my suggestion there. Tyler Higbee will get himself a decent amount of targets, but I don't think it'll be enough to where it can justify him over Latavius, because I honestly think Latavius Murray could end the week with more receptions, to be honest. As for your follow-up, I have Mixon, ETN, Swift, and Najee Harris. So yeah, you would want to start all your running backs if possible that you can do so. Appreciate it. G Money says Goff, Rodgers, or Brissett. I'd rather play Rodgers out of the group. Lazard or DPJ Lazard. Connor Thorne says half PPR. Connor, let me go back up to that question that you were referring to. So you were saying Debo, Olave, or Singletary, Juju. So if it's a half PPR scoring format, Connor, I'm probably leaning in the direction of playing. Yeah, it's Singletary and Debo there in a half PPR. Appreciate it. Joel Garza says Tre'Davious White is active. Yep, we knew that. I mean, that was expected mainly because he had been pretty much practicing for the last 3 consecutive weeks. And the indication was already sent out by Ian Rappaport like a couple hours ago. But again, we're not starting DJ Chark or Josh Reynolds anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference. Let's see here. So Aaron Jones or Chubb, since they're right next to each other, who's higher? That's the question. I have Aaron Jones higher, so that's where I'm going. if you want to play Chubb, I mean, don't get me wrong. If you want to play Chubb, play him. Again, you guys are the final decision makers on your team, so roll with it as you will. I'm just here to give you my suggestion. If I had these players in my lineups, what would I do? And this is the way that I would approach this accordingly, based on the research that I've done on this given weekend. Of course, the experiences of anecdotal evidence over the course of the season in the last couple of years. J-Dog says, damn, streaming on Thanksgiving Day. What's up, G? Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, listen, we gotta make sure that everybody's ready to go. I don't care if it's a holiday. We'll be here on Sunday morning for Thanksgiving. Or sorry, for Christmas Sunday. Like, we're not messing around. You understand? This is full time. So as much as I can potentially help you guys, that's the whole point of the channel, right? Trey Dog says, why is ETN so low? Mainly because of the matchup. I do not like running backs up against Baltimore. Over the course of the last month, they have dominated against running backs. Against Tampa Bay, slaughtered them, only allowed like 30 yards. Against Alvin Kamara, only allowed like 40 yards. Against the running backs of Carolina last week, Foreman, they only allowed like 29 yards. They've slaughtered running backs in the last month. That is my biggest concern. So that's why I've kind of been a little bit more cautious with him today or this week. Chase or Lamb? Lamb. Just play Lamb. Don't worry about Chase. You can deal with him next week if you have to, or you pivot him into another option. You got to play Lamb, though. Chris says, drop the Bucs defense for the Jets. Yeah, I would. I would. All right, a couple of donations that were sent in. Let me get out of the chat real quick. Let's go to these donations. So after Jan, we had Jack Venable says, PPR, flex Freiermuth or Latavius Murray or Sutton. I'd play Latavius Murray out of the group. Thank you. As for the next question, Miles Kelly says, Jeff Wilson Jr. or AJ Brown in a PPR. I would play Jeff Wilson Jr. Thank you. Jan says, sorry, I meant keep Latavius Murray or Higbee. Got it, Jan. So are we keeping wait. I meant to, oh, I understand. I meant to keep Latavius Murray or Higbee. I have Mixon, ETN, Swift, Najee. Now I'm beginning to question what you mean by this. Are we trading these options away? If that's the question, Jan, it's a trade question, then sure, yes. I'm okay moving that because you have enough depth to afford to do so. C. Miles says, traded Fields, Watson, Deontay, and Gus for Herbert, Devonta Smith, and James Robinson. Okay, I'm fine with that. I don't have a problem with that. That's okay. On Tuesday, half PPR, couldn't risk losing Fields for the year. Yeah, totally understand. That's why I'm fine with the trade. Anthony sends the question, says, start two, Myers, Sutton, Wilson, Mooney. Myers, Sutton, Wilson, Mooney. No, probably not. In a full PPR, I'd probably go with Myers over Sutton, and then I'd probably also play Garrett Wilson. The odd man out would be Sutton and Mooney there. Keone Ned says, should I activate Jamar Chase from my IR and drop Gallup? Currently have Paris Campbell at the flex with DeAndre Hopkins and Devontae Adams in a 12-man league. Should you activate him? I mean, eventually you'll have to. You don't have to do it today, or you don't have to do it right now either. So unless you're going to go pick up someone because of that move, you don't have to. So I wouldn't. Now, if you're telling me, Andrew, should I activate Jamar Chase, drop Michael Gallup, then go pick up Jameson Williams off my IR, off the waivers and add him to the IR? I would say yes, let's do that. Thank you. Appreciate it, Keone. You think the Cowboys defense is going to be good? I have them as my number one for the week. So yes, I expect them to be fantastic. There are 4 offensive linemen missing for the Giants today. Jesse says, start Gano or grab Dicker. I think I have, let me check here again. I have Graham Gano as my number 10, and I have Cameron Dicker as my number 8. So yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm willing to make the pivot. Cameron Dicker has been pretty consistent as of late too. Akers or Patterson rest of the season? Patterson. Drop Mitchell for Carter? Yes. Rashad White or Olave this week in the flex? Again, it depends on what we end up seeing by Sunday, Lincoln. If Fournette is not there, then we'd play White. If he is, then we'll play Olave. Start Tua or Dak? I'd like to play Tua. If you don't want to wait for it and you just want to have some skin in the game for today, you can play Dak and you're good to go. You're going to get great performances out of both of them either way, in my opinion. J-Dog, I appreciate that. Thank you. Ryan says Steelers, Panthers, or Colts defense this week. I prefer the Panthers out of the group. Amari Cooper or David Montgomery in a half PPR. I'd rather play Amari Cooper there probably. If we get more information regarding Fields potentially being active, then we can get into that conversation. Why isn't Campbell higher in an amazing matchup? The primary reason why Campbell isn't higher is because it's a half PPR ranking on screen. If it was a full PPR, he'd be a little bit higher in the ranking. But in terms of a half PPR up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's just a matter of, yes, he's probably going to get himself 10 fantasy points. The upside is 100% touchdown dependent. And there are a lot of other options within that offense. Therefore, he sits where he is. I'm starting Gano. I don't think that the Cowboys will shut him out. No, listen, I think that they can get to the... I could very easily see Graham Gano knocking in a couple 50-yard field goals today and giving them like 9 offensive points, right? Just off of kicking alone. So that's the idea. Why no Taysom Hill in the rank? Taysom Hill is a little too volatile. One week he'll run the ball 9 times. The other week he'll run it twice. One week he'll catch the ball. The other week he'll completely not even be utilized in any sort of capacity outside of special teams. That inconsistency does not breed enough confidence for me to play him in a fantasy, outlet. Frank Grillo says, which defense, Cowboys or Commanders? Again, Cowboys are number 1 on my list today. I think Commanders are number 12. So, yeah, it's a pretty big difference there. Foster Moreau or David Njoku. Luckily, you don't have to decide until later this week, but it's probably going to be Njoku if healthy. Again, we don't know if he's healthy, so we'll see. If he's not, and he's going to be questionable, by the time we get to Sunday, if he hadn't had a full practice by Friday, then you would just play Foster Moreau and you'd be fine with it. Patrick Moore says, Keenan Allen will get a minimum of 12 targets this week. Patrick, you know what? From your fingers to the YouTube chat to the fantasy god's ears, I hope that you are correct, my man. Carlos says, can you answer my question? Happy Thanksgiving, sir. Yeah, I mean, where's your question, my man? Why didn't you just ask it? Where's your question? Gabe Davis or David Montgomery? Yeah, I play Gabe Davis right now. Appreciate that, Carlo. Dylan Johnson was saying, Jamar and his situation, would you start over him? Okay, who would you start over him? Palmer, Myers, or Latavius Murray? I have Dalvin Cook as well. At this moment, okay, if Jamar Chase plays, I would not play anybody over him. I'd have him starting over even Dalvin Cook this week. But considering we don't know, you're asking me, would I play Myers over him today instead of waiting? No, I'd like to wait. And if he doesn't play, I'd play Latavius Murray in that spot. If you have a flex open. Appreciate it. Kyler or Dak? I play Dak this week for sure. Andrew Clark was saying Mooney, Nico Collins, Dortch, Foreman, Kieran Williams, or Pirine. I mean, I'm going with Foreman there first and foremost. Mooney has the problem of Sauce Gardner. Nico has the problem of a new quarterback. Dortch has a problem with a broken thumb. Kieran Williams could be relevant, but again, they're playing against the Chiefs, and Kieran Williams has to catch the ball 10 times to be relevant this week. And Pirine, we don't even know if he's playing. So at that point, we are playing 1 wide receiver 3, 1 flex. So we're playing Foreman, and it would probably play, I mean, technically, probably Mooney, but I don't like it. I'd look to probably try to go pick up Zay Jones if you have him available. Let's see here. Chris Olave or Chris Godwin. I mean, as of right now in a half PPR, I'd probably rather play the guys that are ranked higher on screen. But it could change by the time we get to Sunday. We'll see. Andrew, if Fields doesn't play, where do you rank the Jets defense over the Chiefs? No, I don't actually. No, I wouldn't. I would not rank the Jets defense over the Chiefs if Fields didn't play. I'd still play the Chiefs against Bryce Perkins this week. Thank you. All right, there were a couple more questions that were sent in via donation. Let me see here. Drop Murray or Higbee? Got it. If I have to drop one, I would drop Higbee. I don't want to drop Murray. Murray's starting running back. There's no Gordon. There's no Chase Edmonds. I don't think I'm dropping Murray there. Jan, thank you. What is this question? We did Keone. We're fine. Rockout says, in a full PPR, I need 1 running back and 2 flex options. We have Swift, Pacheco, Brian Robinson, Zay Jones, Allen Robinson, and Nico Collins. At this point, I play Pacheco over Swift. And you know what? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, okay. This is what I'm doing. In your scenario here, Rockout, I'm playing Pacheco at RB1. No, I'm not. I'm playing Swift at RB1, Pacheco at flex 1, and Zay Jones at flex 2. Thank you. Kobe sends in a question, says, Cousins playing today, and Fields as my questionable quarterback 2. Okay, here's the thing. In a two QB league, if you have Cousins and Fields, I would be a little bit, I'd be very cautious as to how you approach this. You kind of have to play Cousins because you have Fields who could also miss this week. So you probably want to go pick up a third quarterback option, play Cousins today, and then we'll see what happens by the time we get to Sunday. But there's no guarantee that Fields plays. I'm already losing my voice. Can you imagine that? I mean, I've been doing this for what? We started at 7, so we've been here for 2 hours. That's typically the typical cutoff that I like. I'm typically used to that 2-hour cutoff, but power through 30 more minutes. We got this. With Barkley's offensive line injured, is he still viable? I mean, listen, at this moment, it's a me. It's a me. I currently have him ranked at number 15 for a reason. He went from 5 to 15. So I've dropped him a significant margin to the point where, yes, I'm still confident playing him at that capacity. Michael says, Lenny practiced today. Sure, he practiced, but was it at a full capacity? That is the question. If there's an indication as to whether or not it is a full or a limited, that would be, greatly appreciated to know. If I look at it right now, I don't even have an update. As of the most recent update to their injury report, it says he was limited on Wednesday. I don't have a Thursday indication or configuration. Do you know the severity of Lamar's hip injury? No clue. Again, a lot of the injuries, they will not tell us the severity of it. The only person who has actually verbally translated their injury severity has been Justin Fields as of late. Who would you rather have rest of the season, Herbert or Deshaun Watson? I'd rather have Herbert. Significantly higher. Can you say the kicker rankings again? Sure. One moment. At this point, okay, so let's get to this. All right, so I'm going to answer a couple more of these questions, and we're going to hop into the kicker rankings again, okay? So here we go. JT sent in a question, says, in a PPR, I need 2 wide receivers in a singular flex. We have Amon-Ra St. Brown. We have Jacoby Myers. We have Devonta Smith. We have Mike Williams. I don't expect Mike Williams to play. We have P. Ryan. I don't expect him to be a viable option because I probably mix in clears concussion protocol. I have the 49ers. Okay, so let's answer your first primary question. Your 2 wide receivers that I'm playing are Amon-Ra St. Brown and Myers, and then I play Devonta Smith in the flex. Good to go. Boom, boom, boom. As for your follow-up, you have the 49ers, Jets, and Washington defense available. At this point, yes, I would like to play the Jets defense and probably rather have them rest of the season as well. Lock Screen Gaming says, Prescott, Mixon, Eckler, Godwin, Lamb, Schultz, ETN, Brett Maher, Dolphins defense. Okay, really solid roster for this week. You have Fields on the bench along with Keenan Allen, Commanders, Kyler Murray. Okay, yeah, you're good to go there. Start them up, lock it in. You're good to go. Lock Screen Gaming. It's interesting. Locked Screen Gaming. For a name to be Locked Screen Gaming, what are you locking in on? Are you playing League of Legends? Are you playing like a MOBA? Are you playing a Dota, maybe? Because why would we talk about lock screen, right? That's the only reference that I would ever imagine that it'd be correlated to. Carlo, let me see here. Carlo, where are we at? Carlo. So we had answered Carlo's prior question. Is there a follow-up there, Carlo? So after the Gabriel Davis conversation that we had, Carlos says answered the wrong question. What do you mean? Aha, there's another question. I see, Carlo. That's what it is. So Sutton, okay, so listen, you can't blame me. You got multiple questions in there. Carlos said, Sutton, Singletary, Garrett Wilson, Jacoby Myers, or Pickens. Okay, we have a pretty good stud cast of receivers here, huh? At this point, out of the group, I probably feel most confident playing. It's either George Pickens or Garrett Wilson there. I think I probably just play Pickens out of the group. Thank you. Rockout says Cousins or Derek Carr. Give me Derek Carr. 10 times out of 10 this week, I'd rather play Derek Carr. Anthony says drop Greg Dulcich for Jamison Williams. Yes, I would do that. That's fine by me. M. Leasy, where the heck is your question, M? Josh Rose says PPR, need 2, Jamal Williams, Jeff Wilson, Godwin, Pittman. Give me both running backs. Thank you. Red Seto says Akers or Patterson rest season. I'm going Patterson, just like I was mentioning earlier in the chat. Where art thou? Okay, so we need to see where Leezy's question went. Okay, Leezy says, happy Turkey Day, Andrew. I need 2 running backs in a flex this week. We have Barkley, Stevenson, Jeff Wilson. Okay, I already know the answer to that one. Swift, Brian Robinson, James Robinson. Okay, so as of this moment in time, I am playing Barkley, Ramondre, and Jeff Wilson. Boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3. No questions asked for firing it up. Thank you. Appreciate it. Alrighty, so let's talk about kicker ranking, shall we? Tyler Bass, number 1. Brett Maher, number 2. Jason Myers, number 3. Nick Folk, number 4. Daniel Carlson, number 5. We have Harrison Butker, number 6. Justin Tucker, number 7. Cameron Dicker, number 8. Robbie Gould, number 9. Graham Gano, number 10. Matthew Wright, number 11. Evan McPherson, number 12. Ryan Suckup, number 13. And Chase McLaughlin, number 14. Now, the reason primarily why I have Evan McPherson and Suckup at number 12 and 13 is because of weather conditions and potential of that being a rain game for both those experiences. Any QBs give you 2 points, drop them. They cost me. Yeah, Kirk Cousins cost me last week, says Justin. Yeah, that's rough, isn't it? I'm telling you, man, a lot of people were burnt by that last week. And I'm worried about that momentum continuing on here. Let's see here. A couple more questions that were sent in. Mahmoud says, Montgomery or Burks? If we get to Sunday and Justin Fields is playing, I'll play Montgomery. Otherwise, I'd pivot to Burks. Jason Somers says, traded Pollard for Mahomes last week. I had Kyler. Now my depth stinks at running back. How bad was that trade? Do I start DPJ or Patterson in the flex? I'd rather play DPJ than Patterson. How bad of a trade was it? I don't know what the rest of your depth looks like. I'm actually curious now. What else do you have at running back? Appreciate it, Jason. Thank you. All right, let's look at the chat here again. Jose was saying, I have Kmet as my tight end, but worry about Justin Fields. I found Austin Hooper as my potential replacement. Should I stay with it? If you have both options, again, let's wait until Sunday. We'll figure that out by the time we get there. If Justin Fields is active, we fire up Kmet. If not, then we can theoretically pivot there. Let's see here. We have Andrea says, full PPR Pickens or Latavius Murray in the flex this week. In a full PPR, I'm probably willing to play Pickens there. Man. Yeah, I'm probably playing Pickens there. I mean, it's tough, but I don't know. We'll figure that out by the time we get to Sunday. I mean, dude, some of these questions are really tough because now we're in a situation that we straight up, no joke, there's no bye weeks. And this will be the last time until what? We get to week 15? It is tough, man. There are so many good options at every position this week. Like in weeks past, it was easy to just be like, boom, send it, you know? All right, let's see here. Kmet or Hooper, again, at this point, I'm holding on to the hope that Fields can play, and I would go with Kmet there. Otherwise, yes, we pivot. Should I go with Josh Allen or Tua this week? Scared about Allen? I wouldn't be scared about him. I'm fine with him. Fire him up. William says, in a full PPR, who do I start, Evans or Aaron Jones? I would rather play Aaron Jones this week. Thank you. All righty. There were a couple more questions sent in via donation, so let's get to those really quickly. Anthony sends in a question, says, start 2 wide receivers, Hollywood, A-Rob, DPJ Palmer. DPJ and Palmer are my suggestions. Thank you. Dragsfire says half PPR, Chubb, Montgomery, Patterson, Williams, and White. Okay. Receivers, Godwin, DK, Cooper, and Palmer. Who should I go? Who should I do? What should I do? Excuse me. As of the options that you have available, I would be looking to play Chubb and Williams as your RB1 and 2. I'd be looking to play Cooper and DK as your wide receiver 1 and 2. And then in a half PPR, probably also look to play White at your flex. If in fact Fournette is not active, White is the flex. If not, then we are in a position where we are automatically playing Godwin there. ER says you skipped my super chat. I, in fact, did not. You can even pull back the stream. I did not. But I will re-mention the answer that I gave for your specific question, my man. No problem. Let's go back up to your question. Dude, where is ER's question? Like, ER space, maybe. Where the heck did ER's question go? ER, where the heck is your question, my man? That's the problem. When your name is ER, the control F function of finding your name becomes a pain in my cheeks. Yo, where is this question? Scrolling. Maybe you didn't even I mean, I know I answered. There it is, ER. So you were saying Etienne, Olave, Kirk, Ayuk. I was saying we're starting both of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You can even pull it back. Definitely answered it. But hey, we're here. We got you. No problem. Let's see here. Franz says, hey, Andrew, pick 4 in a full PPR. Pick 4, huh? Okay, here we go. You got a lot of options there, don't we? Of the available options that you do have in a full PPR, Higgins, Terry McLaurin, Jamal Williams, and Godwin. That's it. Those are the 4. Thank you. Garrett says, what are your thoughts on Treylon Burks rest of the season, full PPR? Again, it's going to purely be determined on the willingness for this offense and Ryan Tannehill to final target him. If he's going to get consistent targets every week, he should very easily be a top 36 option rest of the way. Ibrahim says, is Taysom useless now? No, he's not useless. But I think in a lot of scenarios, he's not more valuable than these tight ends that catch the ball at a consistent enough rate. If Taysom was scoring touchdowns, I'd have a different tone, though. Thoughts on Sutton's upcoming schedule? Their schedule's been great all year. The quarterback play has not been. So I'm not too excited about it. Dalvin Cook or Rachaad White? I played Dalvin Cook because we don't know what Rachaad White's potential upside could be because we don't know purely all the information available. So until we get that, at this point, you're playing Olave and Dalvin Cook there, Jordan, until further notice. Does Tony have any value going forward? I in one of my leagues, I had to drop him because, again, when you have a thinner like bench capacity in some leagues where you only have like 5 bench spots and you're dealing with an injured player and you don't have any more available IR spots, yeah, you have to drop him in those scenarios. Should I play Deebo Samuel this week, says Jose? Why not? I don't know why you wouldn't, right? If you have a better option than him, certainly play the better option, right? J-Bo says, I traded away Pollard. Pain. Absolute pain. That's unfortunate. But hey, you never know. Maybe the player you traded him for maybe is better. Maybe? I don't know. We'll see. Let's see here. Where art thou? So we had a follow-up couple questions here that were sent in. Let me go ahead and address them really quickly. So we did Drag's question. Now we need Yoni Uno. Yoni Uno says, start 2, Olave, Gabriel Davis, Pittman, and Connor. If I'm starting 2 out of this group, it is most likely going to be Connor because there's no scoring format. So if it's a half PPR, I'm probably playing Connor there, and I'm probably playing Gabe Davis as well. Thank you. Jason Sommer says, follow-up. Running backs are Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, Cordero Patterson, Elijah Mitchell. Thanks, bro. Receivers are Devontae Adams, Deontay Johnson, and Paris Campbell. So basically, Deontay Johnson doesn't count as a receiver. You can drop him at this point, so he doesn't count. So you have Devontae Adams, Paris Campbell, Aaron Jones, and Derrick Henry. You made that move. At this point, you could survive with it. I don't think you're in a terrible position there, Jason, to be honest. I think you're okay. Jude Chavez says, pick 2, Juju, Ayuk, Olave. Again, as of this moment, it's probably going to be Ayuk and following that up with just Olave at this point. Just go off the hot hand there. Approach Ayuk, Olave. Thank you. Damien sends in a question, says half PPR DPJ, Mostert, Elijah Mitchell, McKinnon. I think I answered this earlier, Damien, in the chat because I saw you mention this in the chat and I responded to it. The response was, well, we want to play DPJ and Mostert and just roll with those 2. Now, the question between the 2 of them, if I had to pick 1.5 PPR, it would purely just be playing Mostert because of the matchup on hand. THC408 says Swift versus Buffalo or Palmer versus against Arizona in a half PPR. I'd rather play Palmer this week. Thank you. Anthony C says James Conner or Jeff Wilson. 1,000% Jeff Wilson. Anthony, thank you. Canvas sends in a question, says trade Sutton and Mostert for Ayuk. I don't mind it. Does it help that much? In some capacities, I would suppose it does. If moving on from Sutton and Mostert doesn't really impact your depth much, I'm okay with it. Paul Getz says, I got suggestion to put your kicker and defense rankings on screen so nobody has to waste your time asking them. No, it's okay. It doesn't really matter. I actually like talking about it. So I think it's a good way to just kind of pivot conversations at time. So while we're pivoting conversations, again, for those of you who are joining us this morning, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. If you guys haven't yet already, be sure to click the like button down below. Also, if you guys haven't checked out Prize Picks yet, there is a current promotion via Prize Picks where right now you can go ahead, sign up, and make an entry with a free square of Justin Jefferson going more than 0.5 receiving yards, which is an automatic. You can pair him up with a multitude of other players, whether it's in the NFL in tonight's games, this morning's games, or potentially picking more or less on given statistics for other sports. You can check that out today. Again, there's a link down in the description. When you sign up with promo code Andrew and make your first time deposit, your first time deposit is immediately doubled up to $100. So check that out today. And of course, take advantage of the free square of Justin Jefferson. Thank you. Let's see here. Keegan, thank you very much. It says, full PPR, start 3, Zeke, Dante Foreman, Paris Campbell, Treylon Burks. At this moment, I think I'm starting everyone over Zeke. Actually, I am starting everyone over Zeke. Yep, that's what I'll do. Manolo says, who would you drop based on rest of season? Okay, let's see here. AJ Dillon, Gus Edwards, Elijah Mitchell. Who am I dropping based on rest of season? Ooh, baby. I am most likely dropping AJ Dillon, to be honest. I think Gus Edwards has more of a chance of playing. I think I'm probably dropping AJ Dillon there out of the group. Thank you, appreciate it. Marco says, start 2 for the flex and 1 in the super flex. Juju, Burks, Slayton, Pierce, Carr. So Carr is automatically your super flex there, Marco. As for your 2 flex options, I would lean with Juju Smith-Schuster. And then if it's a full PPR scoring format, I'd also like to play Treylon Burks. Otherwise, you play Dameon Pierce there. Thank you. Anthony says, start 1 PPR. We have Cole Kmet, Taysom Hill, or pick up Ingram, Logan, or Conklin, Fant, or Cooper. At this point, we're going to play, or Hooper, I'm assuming that's what you meant. We're going to play Kmet for right now. We'll see where it goes as the week progresses. But there isn't anybody in those mentions that are in tonight's game, so you're fine until then. But right now, keep Kmet, because we want to keep him rest of the season, right? Also, start 2, Olave, Wilson, DPJ, Sutton, London, Treylon, Hollywood. Yes, I'd like to play Olave and Wilson out of those group of wide receivers there, Anthony. Cole Pierce says start 3. Higgins, Jamar, AJ Brown, Amon-Ra. Higgins, Jamar. Okay, so considering this is the option, I made this exact same suggestion to someone earlier. I would like to play Amon-Ra today. Wait until we get to Sunday. If Jamar Chase plays, I'm playing Jamar and Higgins. If Jamar Chase doesn't play, then you play Higgins and AJ Brown and you're good to go. Thank you. Albino Gringo says, PPR starting running backs are Jeff Wilson Jr. and Michael Carter. I have Gus Edwards and Kenny Drake on my bench. Safe to drop them for J.K. Dobbins coming back. Thanks. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving as well. At this point, is it safe to drop any of those options for Dobbins coming back? I think it's going to be a complete clusterfuck of it's just going to be a complete mess. It is going to be a committee beyond all belief. So if you would like to drop one of them for Dobbins, go for it. I don't even know who's going to be the starter in that rotation. It is going to be an absolute mess going forward once they're all 3 active. So I'd rather just go pick up Kieran Williams, to be honest. Manolo says pick 2, Freiermuth, Dalton Schultz, Palmer, Pacheco. I'd rather play out of this. Yeah, give me Palmer and give me Schultz. Thank you. Hakima says, need a flex, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. So we need 3 of these potential options. So we have Williams, Pacheco, Watson, Olave, Davis, Jamar. Okay, so as of right now, the only suggestion that I would think about making at this point is just playing Williams. Outside of that, assuming that's Jamal, you're waiting until Sunday to figure out what the heck Jamar Chase's deal is. If Jamar Chase plays, you play him. Do we want to play Davis as well there at that point? Yeah, you probably do. Play Davis and Williams. Wait until Sunday. If Jamar Chase goes, you play him. Otherwise, you play Olave or Juju. Yeah, that's probably the way to go there. Hakima, thank you. Dead Stock says, can I actually sit Barkley? I kind of want to. I have Singletary and I have Jamal Williams. Can you? Okay, technically you can. Am I suggesting you to do so in comparison to the alternative options that you have? No. But can you do it? Absolutely. If you got a gut feeling about it, bench his ass. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Hey, Andrew says proximity. Pick 2 to start in this week. We have a 10-team league, full PPR. Chubb, Mixon, Connor, Jeff Wilson. If I'm starting 2 out of that group of players, I'm playing Chubb and I'm playing Wilson. Thank you. Chris House says I'm 11-0, but my running back situation is a mess. Pick 2, Swift, Foreman, Kieran Williams. This week, I would rather play Foreman and Swift. I will wait and I'll reserve judgment on what the heck Kieran Williams is by the time we see what happens this week. Let's see here. Felipe says Zeke, Jacoby Myers, Pacheco, flex, half PPR. At this point this week, I'd rather play Jacoby Myers. J-Bo says, if Jamar plays, do I bench Olave or Smith? If Jamar plays, I bench Smith. Let's see here. Donald Smith says it's game time. Are you ready for some football? Yeah, should be fun. Should be definitely fun. Standard scoring flex, Jeff Wilson, Kamara, Keenan Allen, or Godwin. At this position, Ando, I am 1000% playing Jeff Wilson. I would play Jeff Wilson probably higher than where I have him ranked, to be honest. But in some scenarios, it's probably not smart. So I'm honestly being conservative with my ranking. Appreciate it. Another J-Bo question. Interesting. More J-Bos. PPR flex, Chubb, Debo, Jamal. Quarterback TB12 or Fields. I play TB12 over Fields, of course, assuming Fields is not active. And then if we're in a situation where we're playing one of those options, I'm legitimately playing Chubb against the Bucks. Cole Pierce says, why did Saquon slide so far down? Yeah, so as of right now, 4 of the starting offensive linemen for the Giants are not active today. They are considered out. A couple due to illness, couple due to injury, and because of that, it is very. I'm worried. I'm worried about the running game purely, and that's where his value has pretty much predominantly been sufficient. He's been able to get a lot of value from running the ball, and if he's not able to do so, and he has to rely upon the receiving game, and he's not getting enough targets, it could be very disastrous today. Awesome says, can you go over defensive rankings? Yeah, we'll do that in a minute. Foreman or Carter in the flex? I'd rather play Carter in a half PPR. Moving on. Brand says, what's your team's record? My guy, I play in 13 leagues. So which one are you talking about? You know what I mean? Pierce or Gabe Davis today? I play Gabe Davis today. Where does Cole Kmet stand without Fields? It's a little bit lower. I'd still play him over Conklin, though. Carl says, I'm really scared to start Pierce and Barkley because of the bad matchups and the lineman injuries. Do I start any of these other options? You have Rachaad White and Isaiah Pacheco. Oof, in a standard league, do I rather play them? Probably not, no. I probably still play the guys that you have. I'm willing to play Rachaad White only if Fournette is out. And at that point, I'd play him over Pierce. So you still have to play Barkley, though. Let's see here. Do you think I should try to trade Fournette for Jeff Wilson? Yeah, I don't mind that, Danny. I truly don't. Especially if you're trying to win to get in. Fournette, Jeff Wilson's remaining regular season strength of schedule until week 14 is really strong. Before we get to defensive rankings, once again, let me go ahead and answer a couple more of these questions that were sent in. Mike Kelly says half PPR, Christian Watson or George Pickens. I'd probably go with the hot hand of Watson, but again, Pickens is probably just as strong in that capacity, considering both their potential upside for touchdowns. Also, do you have DJ Moore? Would you do you think he reconnects with Darnold? And yeah, look, here's the thing. He could be good against the Denver Broncos with Darnold, but he has to take on Patrick Surtain. So I'm not 100% bought in on that idea. So for right now, we'll just play Christian Watson and roll with it. Luis says, Kenneth Walker, Mixon, Connor, Singletary. Do I bench Joe Mixon? Yes, you do, Joe. You would. Again, if in fact we get to Sunday and you'd like to play him over Connor, you can, but I would suggest probably sitting Mixon this week, and we don't even know if he's playing, so that's also another reason. Golden says, longer stream makes you more loose. Love the energy. Makes me more loose to what? Like If it's a longer stream, I am certainly more willing to, curse someone out. I'll tell you that much. If people get on my nerves, I'm definitely a looser cannon in that regard. But other than that, we're chilling. Let's see here. LB sends in a question, says, what do you think about my team? I have Hurts, I have Cook, I have Eckler, I have Ramondre, I have St. Brown, I have Chris Godwin, I have... Okay. I was offered Cook and Amon-Ra St. Brown for Pollard and Chase. Nah, you got to keep Pollard and Chase. You're good to go, my man. That's a good-looking team. CJ says, pick 2 PPR, Murray, Carter, White. Love the content. Again, if in fact White is going to be without Fournette, we would play him and Murray. Otherwise, we play Murray and Carter. Thank you. Tropic says, should I wait for Lenny/White or start Swift? Wait for Lenny/White. That's my suggestion. You have Jeff Wilson at number 1. Just wait. Be patient with it. Amar says, trade Herbert for DeAndre Hopkins. In a half PPR super flex league, I need a wide receiver 1. My current quarterbacks are Watson and Prescott. My current wide receivers. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the trade. That's fine by me. In a super flex league, I typically wouldn't want to be giving away Herbert for a D-Hop, but at this point, considering you have the depth to do so, like I'd rather trade Watson for it because I prefer Herbert so much higher. But if you have to make that trade to get a little bit more depth at the position, that's fine. All right, let me go through quickly the defensive rankings. Cowboys number 1, Kansas City Chiefs number 2, Patriots number 3, Jets number 4, Dolphins number 5, Broncos 6, Panthers 7, Bills 8, Eagles 9, Ravens 10, 49ers 11, Commanders 12, Steelers 13, Colts 14. Thank you very much. In the chat, what do we have here? What do you think about Montgomery versus Olave in the flex? I'd rather play Olave. Jamal, White, or Murray full PPR. Again, it's Jamal until otherwise noted. And considering we cannot wait to know, probably just have to play him. And then if in fact we get more indication, we could probably talk about the others later on in the week, specifically Sunday morning, which will be live streaming from 8 to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Sunday morning. Should I bench Saquon for ETN? I would. You don't have to. Certainly don't have to, but I would. I'd feel comfortable doing so. Where do you have Kyler ranked? Number 20. It will go up as the week progresses, I can assure you that. We just have to figure out who's healthy for their wide receiver core. Awesome was saying, I'm debating 49ers or Patriots defense. Yeah, play the Patriots. CS Derek says, happy Thanksgiving, Andrew. I wanted your opinion on this trade here. I have Lamar and I have Dalvin for CeeDee Lamb and Geno Smith. I have Fields, Aaron Jones, Chubb. Okay. Trade is not done, just in negotiation right now. So you'd be trading away Lamar and Dalvin Cook for Geno Smith and CeeDee Lamb. Lamar and Geno are pretty much similar value at this point. It's a matter of whether you need the depth at wide receiver or at running back. I'm okay with the trade. I think it's relatively even. Again, the assumption is that Lamar has more upside, but he just hasn't acted upon it yet. He's got a really good rest of the season strength of schedule, so that is something that you could definitely buy in on. But I don't mind the idea, assuming you don't have enough wide receiver depth and you need to make this play for CeeDee Lamb. Jimmy G or Brady, says Jamal. Again, guys, on screen, I have up-to-date rankings, so we do have Jimmy G at number 10 and Brady at number 11 in my quarterback rankings, so we're playing Jimmy G there. Disley, Dulcich, or Taysom Hill this week in a full PPR. I played Dulcich. Jamar Chase this week, he's questionable. We'll see. We'll know by Sunday. AJ Brown or Gabriel Davis, I'd play AJ Brown this week. Crazo. Will Patel says, pick 3, Latavius Murray, Jeff Wilson Jr., Evans, Jamal Williams. I'd play Evans, Jamal, and Jeff Wilson. Start Myers or Pickens? Pickens. Half PPR, wide receiver 3, DPJ, Wilson, or Palmer, or even MVS. Of those options, Mike, I like Palmer and Garrett Wilson. Again, like on screen, I have half PPR rankings up to date, so the rankings on screen pretty much give you an example as to where I would go with in terms of that wide receiver position. Great work, Beardman. Yeah, I appreciate that. Oathkeeper says, Ayuk or Evans, since Tampa game is going to be in the rain. Yes, if it's going to be a full confirmed rain game, at that point, yes, we would rather play Ayuk against New Orleans. But yes, that was the primary concern that I had with even playing, with Suck Up this week in terms of the kicker. If it's going to rain, I don't even want to deal with that game, right? So that's the biggest concern there. Dalvin Cook or Pierce Olave, Rashad White, pick 2. At this moment, I'm playing Dalvin Cook and I'm playing Olave. I know you hate the matchup for Cook, but what other pivot option do you have? You can technically wait and see if Rashad White gets that full workload, but if he's not going to get it, it could be a disaster. You know what I mean? Devonta Smith or David Montgomery is probably going to be Devonta Smith for right now until otherwise noted. How do you feel about Cam Akers? I think with this week's matchup is awful for him. I think in the fantasy playoffs, if in fact Kupp is back, Matthew Stafford is back, and this offense wants to try to win some games, they could be in a better position with Cam Akers. But until then, this matchup does not serve him well, especially considering they're going to get boat raced out of the building. The score is probably going to be 21-0 by the end of the first quarter, and by the time it's like that, we're probably in a position where Cam Akers is not getting any more snaps, and that pretty much sucks. So don't play him today. But rest season should have value because of the upcoming schedule with Stafford. Ayuk, okay, we already did that one. We did that one. Rodgers or Brady rest of season? I'd have to look at matchups, but I'd probably go Brady. Trade Carter for Lazard or Sutton. If you need wide receiver depth, I mean, you could, but I'm not too confident about either of those options, technically. I'd rather wait until Carter has a big performance here than sell him off for a bigger play, considering Carter's rest of season fantasy playoff strength of schedule and what you could theoretically kind of parlay him into in that regard. Appreciate it. CS Derek says, thanks for the help, Andrew. My current wide receivers are Christian Kirk and whoever is in a good matchup, so I need CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, then make the trade. Yeah, it'll definitely help you out in the long term there. Paris Lark says, half PPR, Schultz, Paris Campbell, Mike Williams, or Pacheco. Out of the group, I would be very confident in playing Dalton Schultz there. I'm very comfortable with that. I'm okay with it. Prescott or Jimmy G or Tom Brady or even Geno Smith at quarterback, huh? You got a lot of options there, Miracle. I'm playing Dak Prescott out of the bunch. Thank you. All right, guys, it's time. The Bills and Lions game, I forgot who they were playing for a second there, has probably kicked off. I do appreciate you guys joining us. Again, we will have a video out tomorrow. We will also have a live stream on Sunday morning. So if anybody, Gabriel Davis or Kirk, again, Kirk is the play. And I think it's already too late to potentially even make that change there, Crazo. So again, the game has started. If you guys are wondering in regards to any other questions, comments, concerns regarding Sunday, we'll address it once we get there. Sunday morning, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will be answering questions for 2 hours on live stream. Ready to go. Other than that, I do appreciate you guys joining us today. For those of you who donated, greatly appreciate your supporting the channel. For those of you who clicked the like button, greatly appreciate that. And for those of you who showed up, clicked the dislike button, cursed me out in the chat, and then left, I still appreciate it because, hey, it's all love. We'll take it. Any sort of impressions on the YouTube algorithm is greatly appreciated. That pretty much covers it for me today. Hope you guys have an incredible Thanksgiving. For those of you who are not having the whole shebang, don't worry about it. Hey, listen, you don't need to have a turkey for it to be Thanksgiving. You can be thankful for other reasons, etc. Do appreciate that. What does it say? Andrew, where's the channel merch? Where's the channel merch? I've thought about it for many of years. I will tell you that unless I can legitimately make a product that is high quality, I'm not going to sell you, a $10 t-shirt for $40. Not going to do that, right? Not interested in that kind of BS, right? So I want highest of maximum quality, and I've been working with a graphic designer for stuff like that for the last year. We're working on it, all right? Let's just put it that way. But it's got to be high quality. Not going to be trying to, pull a scamaz over the audience. It's got to be real high quality stuff. Either way, thank you guys. I do appreciate you guys. I am thankful for you guys being daily supporters of this channel. Until next time, which will be tomorrow, we'll talk about some must-start options going into the week. Until then, enjoy the rest of today. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the NFL. Enjoy the World Cup. And I'll see you guys. We're going to cue the music, and we're going to send us off here today. Appreciate it. And until next time, I'll see you guys. Peace.